is, I can't believe it, February 9th, 2021. I would like to call Howell Township Council regular meeting to open.
Let the minutes reflect.
5:04 p.m. Sorry, Allison.
That's okay. Let the minutes reflect that adequate notice of the holding of this regular meeting of the Howell Township Council was provided for in the following manner: by the posting of a copy of said notice upon the bulletin board in the Township Municipal Building on January 8th, 2021, by the emailing of a copy of said notice to the Asbury Park Press, Tri-Town News, and Star Ledger for information and publication on January 8th, 2021, by the filing of a copy of said form of notice in the Township Clerk's office on January 8th, 2021. The public will be allowed to participate pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law and the Emergency Remote Meeting Protocol for local public bodies. The public is reminded that civility and decorum will be maintained during the meeting. Any contracts awarded at this meeting or between now and the next meeting will be required to comply with the requirements of Public Law 1975, Chapter 127, NJAC 17:27. Please take note that this meeting is being recorded for possible future broadcast on Howell Television. Mr. Bonovich?
Present.
Mrs. O'Donnell?
Here.
Ms. Richmond?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Russo?
Here.
Mayor Berger?
Present. So I'm just denoting that at this time, there is no reason to go into executive session. Is that correct, Brian?
That is correct, Mayor.
So at this point, I would like to have an acceptance of the minutes from January 5th, 2021, which was the reorg regular meeting. So may I have a motion?
Should we do the pledge?
Mayor,
first?
would you like to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
I went to the next page. I will take that back and I will say, everybody, if we can please stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance and then have a moment of silence for all of our fallen soldiers, our first responders, and everyone who has passed through COVID. If we may stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, so I guess now I will say, may I have an acceptance of the minutes from January 5, 2021, the reorg / regular meeting? May I have a motion?
So move, Mayor.
Thank you. Second?
A second.
Thank you.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell?
Abstain.
Ms. Richmond?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. We do have some a presentation and 2 proclamations. Is the presentation going to go forward?
Yes, Mayor. We have a Brendan Mueller who I see in the audience. I'm going to move him into the main room now.
Please,
So he
thank
can
you.
do his presentation.
Hi, my name is Brendan Mueller from Troop 300 in Howell. I would like to thank you for bringing me here to present my Eagle Scout project. So when I first thought of the project, I thought I would do something to help the veterans. So my first thought was to build a monument. But while doing some further research, I discovered that there was already a monument in the town in front of the old abandoned town hall building. While doing some more talking with my family and my Boy Scout troop, I decided that I'd be able to move the monuments from in front of the old town hall building to Soldier Field, which already has a little bit of a memorial, but it could be a lot better. My vision for my project is going to be a paver area with the monuments surrounding the pavers with a walkway leading up to the monuments. I already have some people that are going to help me design the paver area as well as the landscaping, and I already have the New Jersey Monument Company who's in Howell who's going to help me move the monuments. I already have support from the VFW and local veterans groups who all thought it would be a great idea to move the monuments. And for my fundraising, the New Jersey Monument Company is going to help me make memorial bricks which can have somebody's name and years and a military rank if the buyer wants. I'm going to buy each of those bricks for like $25 or $30 and sell them for hopefully $125 to have a profit of about $100 each. And I'm also going to have some memorial benches, which can have a name and a little bit of a message. And that will help with seating as well as the aesthetic of the project. And it will also help with bringing in some more money. So my next step is to get your approval as the beneficiary so I can send it to the Boy Scout Council to start the fundraising. Does anybody have any questions?
I think this is amazing. So the bricks, is that like people can have their names printed in on the bricks? Like
Yeah.
family members' names or like a memorial to certain family members?
Yeah, so what the guy, he told me he like bought, they're like just regular bricks, and
Right.
he, I think he said he sandblasted them, so it's like an engraving, so it's not gonna like wash away.
Right. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. How much of, what is the square footage of the area that you're looking at?
I think we decided it was gonna be a circle with like 8-foot radius.
Okay. That is really, this is a great project. You know why? Because every time I go past that, you know, I have a family member that's at that, you know, had passed in 9/11 and his name is at that memorial, and you miss it up there because you go up there, but it's like out of the way and people don't really know that it's there unless you're in Howell. So this is great. I really, really love this project. I think it's amazing. I
Thank you.
totally support it 100%.
Thank you.
And
Hey,
I
Brandon.
would love to buy some of your bricks.
Hey, Brandon.
Yes, Mr. Russo.
Very nice to meet you in person. I know we did a little bit of back and forth for over almost a year now. Awesome to see you and awesome to see this great idea. I do have a couple questions. I know we spoke about Mr. Longo, the president of the VFW, getting his support. And I understand you did get his support for this project, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. And I don't, you may have mentioned it, but maybe I didn't catch it. You're going to, in addition to your proposal to move the memorial into a more visible area, so Memorial Park, you also want to add additional monuments for Iraq and Afghanistan, correct?
I thought about doing that, but I thought the cost would be too much and it would take too much time. So I ended up taking that part out.
You took that out? Okay.
Yeah.
Could
Okay.
I ask, what is the total cost for this project, Brendan?
I think we're expecting it to be like $700 or $7,500 to $10,000. But I'm gonna do a lot of reaching out. I'm gonna reach out to the Vietnam Memorial up north in Homedale, as well as a lot of fun, flyers around town. So hopefully it'll get it out there. It'll get the project out there.
If you would, I'm sorry, Pam, I'm sorry. You could if you would send me, you know, some of your stuff, I could throw it up on the Facebook page. I would totally do that. I'm sure everybody else would do that as well.
Absolutely.
Brendan, I have a couple of questions if you don't, I'm sorry, Deputy Mayor, were you finished? I don't think you were finished. Sorry.
No, Brendan, it's a long time. This is a long time coming, you know, this was right before the pandemic. I reached out and with this idea, and then of course everything went on hold. But it's great to see that you're continuing this project, and looking forward to the next step.
So
Very
Brendan,
exciting.
Well,
Hi,
sorry,
how are you?
I do have
Thank-
one.
oh, go ahead, Deputy Mayor. Go ahead.
Joe, what's the procedure, I guess, you know, going forward?
Well, I mean, you guys can give the thumbs up or thumbs down tonight. I'm assuming that everybody's in support of the project. It sounds like a great project, very ambitious. I'll need to get involved with it afterwards because it is a pretty big one. There's a big scope to it. And I just want to make sure, you know, I'll run it by our insurance broker, and, you know, the boring nuts and bolts part, we'll just get those in line as well.
Awesome.
Very good.
Okay.
Please, please.
Thank you. Brendan, thank you for doing this. This is a great and, like they said, ambitious thing. I just wanted to be clear on a couple of things. So the tombstones that are already at the old town hall is what you're moving. So that memorial, right? Not the 9/11 memorial. I just want to be clear because,
It's just the World War I and II and the Korea and the Vietnam ones.
okay, so the ones that are already there that usually during Memorial Day services, we stand in front of and we place wreaths, correct? All
Yep.
right, I want to be clear. That's number one. Thank you. Number two is, Brian, I think you can help out on this one. Echo Lake has bricks already that we have engraved, I'm pretty sure.
I believe that's done through DPW.
DPW, so we've done them. Can we help in the aid of that? If that's something we could amend from Echo Lake, and however we had it done at Echo Lake, and maybe we can help with the cost to have these bricks done, since we did them over there, and how we did them was before me. So maybe we could work with Brendan on moving some of those over, or adding, just like we did over Echo Lake. Would everybody be
Sure,
okay
we
with
can
that?
certainly share the information, although that project was a number of years ago, so I'm sure the costs have changed significantly since then, but we'll definitely share any info with them.
Could our DPW help with that? I don't know. Just asking a question.
I think they may have.
Quite often we get Eagle Scout projects that they're usually coordinated through DPW
Okay,
because it usually involves some modification of parks. It's
Right.
just simply because this is such a large undertaking that we wanted to present it to the governing body. So it's definitely a lot larger than most Eagle Scout candidates take on.
I have another
So-
question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mayor.
My question was, some of the monuments are obviously so heavy. What's the plan in transporting them from one place to the next?
The guy from the New Jersey Monument Company, he said that he has friends that can help. He said he has like what they use to move like tombstones, like what
Uh-huh.
great. Except it's that, but like a lot bigger. So they'll just lift it up and put it on, I think, like a flatbed truck
Right.
with like, protection around it, and then they'll drive it over, and then we'll already have the base set up, so we can just
Right.
drop it on the base.
Excellent. I think this is a great use of your service. Thank you.
Continue. I'm sorry. So I just wanted to finish. So the American Legion, they're on board. They're aware of this.
DFW.
So they're on board, and they're with their, and the administration, obviously, it's something that we're all in agreement with. And I guess we can circle back and after we have all the other details with the bricks and stuff like that. And I'm in favor of it. I think it's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Please, Councilwoman.
Could you repeat the radius of that circle again? I missed that.
It's going to be like 8 feet from the flagpole that's already at the field, 8 feet
Okay.
out to the edge of the circle.
And will the fundraising take place and be finished by the time you start your project? So you know how far you can go?
Yeah, I'm gonna have all my fundraising finished by the time I actually start laying pavers and doing.
And my other question, I understood from one of our administration that you had brought an engineer in as well.
Yeah.
So are there some type of plans we look at so that we know where it's going to go at Soldier Memorial? Is it in relationship to a walking path or a drive or parking?
It's gonna be like right up in the front by where the flagpole is, like where the memorial is.
Right,
already.
right.
And I have plans for the base, like what each thing is going to be sitting on, like concrete underneath the ground. Yeah, it's pretty close to the walking path up at the front. That's already there, so it's not going to be. We could extend the walking path that's already there.
Just some of the information that I had thought of was just actually seeing the plan or a sketch or whatever your idea was, in this project, location and that type of thing. So I presume that will be given to DPW before you start, or, I mean, will we see somewhat of a sketch or a plan?
I emailed in that Eagle proposal that I emailed last night, there was a sketch,
Oh,
like a
okay.
scale drawing of the actual monument. And
Is
I
that
already
this-
spoken to the DPW guy already.
Okay. So when do you think that this will actually get off the ground? I know fundraising can be long and tedious, but do you have a goal in mind, a calendar idea when you
I'm
might be
hoping-
looking at the?
To be like start on Memorial Day or like a little bit afterwards.
You think 2 months it's done, less, more? I mean, when you actually begin the work, what's that time frame?
I think the
6-8 weeks.
construction, it might take a month, maybe a month and a half, depending on how fast we work. But it should be done over the summer. It won't go into the fall.
The other
May
question I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, may I ask what engineer you're using, or is that just someone that's donated their time and prefer not to have their name out?
Murdoch Engineering, who's also in Howell. He lives on 2 Hummingbird Court.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah,
You're
I
welcome.
wanted you to put his name out there. Thank you.
The other last question I have is, since we're moving these memorials, is there, and this is, I guess this is not to you, Brendan, but I guess it's to the rest of the team, are we going to look at somehow, if it can be done, to move the 9/11 memorial to that location as well, so that we can kind of use that Soldier Memorial Park for all of our memorials? So they're all in the same location and they're not lost on a, side street in the corner on top of a hill? That was a question, I guess, for Brian or Brian. I guess if Justin was on the call, I could ask him, but he's not here.
Mayor, that's part of a much larger plan. It's whatever direction the council wants to go with doing that.
I was just wondering
we
if
could
there's an opportunity for where Brendan is putting it. Is there other opportunity in that same location for it to be like a memorial park kind of a thing in that area?
There could be, yes.
I think we should look into it as a group to see if we can put them all in the same location, that all veterans can go to one location to see and to respect their desired era. Just my own thought. But Mr. Mueller, I think this is an exceptional plan. Very, very energetic, to say the least.
Ambitious.
Ambitious, very good word. But I will say, you know what, dude? I commend you for moving forward and taking it on, and something that to me looked very meaningful. So thank you very much for the thought process, and thank you for moving forward, and good luck. And please forward me your fundraising information so that I can share it.
I will. Once I get the signature, once I get it signed off, I will send it to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Brendan.
you.
Okay, Brendan, make sure we all get it.
Yep, I will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent.
Okay,
Okay, at this point, we have 2 proclamations. We have one for the Green Team. Allison, would you please read the one for the Green Team?
Yes, Mayor. Proclamation of continued support for the Howell Township Green Team. Whereas the Howell Township Green Team was created to advise the governing body on ways to improve municipal operations with green initiatives which make practical, environmental, and financial sense. And whereas the Howell Township Council strive to save tax dollars, assure clean air, land, and water, improve the quality of life, and build a community that is sustainable economically, environmentally, and socially, a community which would thrive well into the future. And whereas a sustainable community seeks to optimize quality of life for its residents by ensuring that its environmental, economic, and social objectives are balanced and mutually supportive. And whereas the Howell Township Green Team has the continued support of the governing body to continue its mission to preserve and enhance Howell Township's environment for all citizens. Now, therefore, Teresa Berger, Mayor of the Township of Howell, on behalf of the governing body, does hereby proclaim their continued support of the Howell Township Green Team.
Thank you. We have a second proclamation for Suzanne or Sue Weitengruber, and I would like to read that. Can you just give me 1 second so I move it over? Whereas longtime Howell resident Sue Weitengruber passed away on January 20, 2021, leaving behind her devoted husband of 49 years, George E. Weitengruber Jr., her son, George III, her daughter, Melissa Scrokey, and 5 beloved grandchildren. And whereas Sue was an avid leader and volunteer who cared deeply for her community, she was elected to the Howell Township Committee in 1989 and was appointed mayor for the year of 1991. She was the second female mayor in Howell's history. Whereas Sue also served on the Howell School Board for 8 years and was a member of the PTA, volunteered on numerous township boards and committees, and cooked hundreds of Thanksgiving turkeys for the PBA to deliver to homebound seniors. And whereas additionally, Sue was a professor of municipal finance courses at Rutgers University Center for Government Services, vice president of the Monmouth County PTA, secretary of the Monmouth County Board of Drug and Alcohol Abuse Services, and vice chair of Monmouth County Commission of the Status of Women. And whereas Sue's extensive knowledge and experience were not limited to Howell Township, she also served as finance director in North Brunswick, borough administrator in Keensburg, and chief municipal finance officer in Tabernacle. And whereas those who were lucky enough to know Sue knew she was a strong and intelligent woman with boundless energy who adored her family above all else. Now, therefore, I, Teresa Berger, Mayor of the Township of Howell, along with the entire governing body, do hereby honor the memory of Sue Weitengruber and her extended sincere condolences to her family and friends. And I want to say from myself, and I believe the entire governing body and previous governing bodies, that thank you to the Weitengruber family for sharing Sue with us and for her extensive work in women's services, which is tremendous. So to the family, the Weitengruber family, thank you so much for sharing Sue with us. At this time, I would like to open for reports of the township officials. So I would like to begin with, and there's only a couple of things that I would like to go to. And I've gotten, and this is, so I want to start off with saying that the weather has been insane. DPW has been out there and they've been really cracking their whips out there, and they've been doing a really great job. We do, though, I have had some concerns from residents themselves who are saying that their neighbors are not cleaning their sidewalks, or not doing, you can't walk across the sidewalk because it's either snowy or now it's icy. So the question came, and it is like, what do we do as a township? Do we somehow go around in areas when DPW is driving around? Do they do anything with the individual homeowners to say, we need to, because we all need to make sure that our properties are clean. So I know that that's probably code, but does DPW work with code, or how, could you please explain how that process works? I guess this gentleman is listening, so I want him to understand.
We get complaints a number of different ways. Either DPW driving around where it's needed, they clear up storm drains, things like that. If they see sidewalks that aren't cleaned, or people blowing snow into the roadway, they will usually refer it to code enforcement.
Okay.
Or our code enforcement officers are out proactively as well, looking for any potential violations.
Okay.
If they have done something, they issue a notice of violation to the person, and they have a certain amount of time to correct it before a summons is issued.
Okay. All right. So that was, so for everybody out there that sent those questions or similar questions to me, so that's the response. So we are looking at that, and we're working on that behind the scenes. I also wanted, just at this point, I want to bring up, today we received, we're supposed to be talking about PBA contract, and we received two pieces of information, one from the Chiefs Association and one from Mr. Clark. At this point, I personally have not had time to review either one of those two documents, and I personally do not feel comfortable moving forward with this contract. I feel that we should pull this contract so that we can review what's going on in these letters that were sent to us. I don't feel that we're doing our due diligence if we just let it slide. And that's just my personal opinion. And that's how I feel about that. So now I would like to move forward with if anybody else has some.
I'd like to take up real quick what you just brought up. I received that email at 4:09 PM. Our meeting started at 5 o'clock. Mr. Clark, you replied with an email. So you're stating state statutes and the Chiefs Association is, they're also this bringing up our own ordinances and also state statutes. So I second the mayor in that. I don't know what these statutes read. I don't have time to look them up. I'm not an attorney like deputy mayor. So I mean, it's a lot. It's 4:09. We're receiving this, and I don't have the background on either side.
I agree.
I don't want a potential lawsuit from the Chiefs Association, nor from the PBA. I mean, these are our guys. These are our people. But in all fairness, I guess, maybe we need to seek some outside counsel because everyone's, using a different ordinance or a statute. I mean, that's confusion. So I think we need to sort that out.
If I may, next as well. I did write a few things down as the mayor and Councilman Bonovich has been saying. So I just want to be clear, you're asking to delay this PBA contract that has been in negotiations between the manager and the PBA and outside labor council. Again, I just want to be clear that this is what you're asking for, to delay this contract more than it's already been delayed. I mean, we have a professional.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm sorry, John. What I said was, I received 2 pieces of correspondence today that are completely relative and directly involved with the PBA contract.
Okay.
I have no problem supporting my PBA and they know it. But I feel to do my fiduciary responsibility and to be reasonable, I need to read both of those documents and sit down and digest them before I can approve a contract that 2 documents are actually going against each other about the same contract. And so for me, I personally, running a business, do not feel comfortable in saying, I have this document, and they're not saying the same thing. And you want me to vote on it without giving me enough time to review it. I'm asking to postpone this contract to our next meeting to allow me or to afford me the opportunity and the time to review a 7-paragraph email from Joe, because I got it around the same time as Mr. Bonovich. I don't know when anybody else received it, but I'm telling you when I did. So yes, I am personally requesting the ability to do my due diligence and read both documents prior to voting on this project. This is me personally. The rest of you can you vote as you choose.
That's fair. But I would like to hear some comment from our township attorney and our township manager, who have been, I think, negotiating this contract in good faith.
Well, I get that, but actually the documentation that we received, don't know how far I can say, but is it personnel protected, Joe?
I wouldn't discuss the contents of either my email or the letter.
Or the others, which is why I am trying to be a little evasive, Pam, by saying I would like the time to review both so that I could come to the table and say, you know what, yeah, you did the right thing and I'm okay with that. Or you know what, no, I don't think that's a reasonable request. That's all I'm asking. And I'm asking to postpone it for me till the next meeting. But it's up to the council.
And to bring up 2019, that's not on council. We just got this now. So
exactly.
If I saw this in 2019, that's on the professionals, not on us. not on Councilman Richmond.
The
Not-
time that it took to negotiate this contract has nothing to do with the 5 of us on council.
Right.
So if it took a year for negotiation and we did not receive that information throughout the year, that is still not the responsibility of the council. It is still the responsibility of the professionals that we work with. So they should have been sharing, and which I have asked for, received one time. We are asking for the updates to the contract so that we can see it as it was moving forward. It's not like I haven't asked for this in the past, but when these 2 documents came to me, they're contradictory, and so I need to review it.
We also received this contract, what, Wednesday?
Yes, this week.
Pretty-
Mayor, I'd like to point out to you that I have updated you along the way with
Yes,
the
sir.
agreement of the
That's
we
correct.
paused negotiations during the middle of the pandemic. It was a very amicable negotiation. You know, both sides agreed because we didn't know the financial condition. So you're incorrect in saying that you haven't been updated. I advised you of
He's
that
saying-
numerous times over.
Brian, you know how I like my updates. I've always asked you, I like the red line. I don't like to see just a line of what you write because I don't know what was in the contract before. And Councilman Russo, Deputy Mayor, you're a lawyer. Do you review contracts without a red line?
You know, listen, I think that I would never deny a colleague additional time to read what they have to read. We did get an email around 4 o'clock, and I always give a courtesy to whether it's an adversary in court or whether it's a colleague on a dais, additional time to read and understand what they are agreeing to. With that said, I want to move forward with this agreement, with this contract ASAP. I think our guys and girls in blue need a contract,
Agreed.
and I want it done, quickly.
My request is the next meeting. Councilwoman,
Mr. Clark, could you weigh in on your opinion at this time without speaking to specifics of negotiations?
So let me think of how to phrase this because there are some things I can discuss and a lot that I can't. First of all, in terms of the professionals, this was negotiated by the township manager. That's what he does pursuant to our ordinances. Labor Council was involved. It's been ratified by the PBA. And there you have it. It's really, that's the process. The letter from the Chiefs Association certainly is sort of a different animal here. It doesn't typically happen. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but I expressed my feelings in my email to everybody. There's been patience on the part of the PBA. They took the good faith step of ratifying it themselves. It's up to this council if they want to vote on it. But as I said, I expressed my feelings in my email.
And if I could just finish this with,
Mayor,
I will say-
just so you're aware, I do have the PBA president in the audience who has his hand raised. I don't know if you want to take a moment to hear from him.
oh, I would wait for Councilwoman O'Donnell was speaking, so if we can let her finish her comment, please.
in my experience with negotiations, 5 years here, 9 years on the Board of Education, I don't think I've ever seen an entity that was not involved in the negotiations specifically weigh in at the end of an agreement. So I'm not sure how much weight we give to a request of someone that's not involved in a negotiation process. And don't answer it. I don't need your opinion. I think I read the email and I think I understand where your stance is, Mr. Clark. I'm just saying my position is when people weigh in on something, in my experience, it's because they are involved in that procedure. And it is unusual, in my opinion, for people to weigh in at this point that have not been involved in the process, because typically they would not be.
Could you clarify who you mean, Evelyn?
The letter that we received today from the vice president of
Okay.
the association.
And
Okay.
is chief, the president of that association? Just to put on the record?
Yes, I believe he is, yes.
Okay. Again,
Recently, yes.
Recently,
Yeah,
Re-
just recently, but.
And
just
But that's,
January.
but that's my concern is that I'm not really sure what kind of weight I would give to something that's not involved in the process. But, you know, I'm happy to hear. I assume it's Mr. Alexander that's wishing to speak. Did I hear correctly? Okay. I'm done.
Brian, please, thank you.
Okay, would you want him moved into the room to speak?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Well, let me ask you this. Let me just ask one question, because we're in the reports of officials at this point, and we're actually discussing something down the line. So I'm just as officially, Mr. Clark, what should we do? Should we wait until it comes up on the agenda when it's time for participation from the audience? Or, I mean, because I think at this point in time specifically, I believe that this is council having a discussion. And then I believe that when it comes up to talk about the contract, that we bring in whoever wants to talk about that. And I think that's just looking down the list. But Joe, if you say change it a different way, that's fine. But then we're going out of order with all the reports of officials. As just an
I
FYI.
think it's okay. We've got the letter from the Chiefs Association. I think in fairness, the PBA president should be allowed to speak as well, because we've been.
Of course. All my
discussing,
question
talking
is,
around
my
the
question
margins
was
about
only,
everything
is
else,
it
so.
now or later? That's my only question.
Now,
I'd like to hear
Perfect.
from you as well.
Let him in.
Okay, I'm moving President Alexander into the room, and as soon as he unmutes, he's able to speak.
Thank you.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
I just, first of all, want to thank you for this opportunity to speak here. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the process that we've been going through, and we've been going through this process for quite some time, going back to the end of 2019. Every step of the way, we've respected the process. We've tried to engage as fairly as possible, and I feel like we've gotten the same response from the township back towards us. I got to speak for our membership. Our membership has been waiting very, very patiently every step of the way. When the town asked us to suspend negotiations because of COVID, obviously that's the step we were going to take. And our membership waited patiently. We've been out of contract for over a year now, and we go to work every single day and we do our job, and we put a lot of hard work into getting this contract done. And I gotta tell you, it was a give and take on both sides. There was, you know, we didn't get everything that we were looking for, and the town didn't get everything that they were looking for from us. But we engaged in that process fairly, and I got to tell you, I'm very disappointed that we're even at this point where we're considering not voting on this contract today, because we worked so hard to get here, and we brought this to the membership, and our membership accepted this contract, and we did everything that we were supposed to do on our end. And to have a third party step in, a third party that's not part of this negotiation, and from what I'm gathering, after 4 o'clock on the day that this was supposed to come to a vote, to throw a wrench into the works to try to stop that. First of all, that's suspect to me, and second of all, it's very disappointing. I just want to reiterate, we've done everything by the book. We've done everything that we're supposed to do here. Our membership is very excited about getting under contract. Our membership was looking forward to this day. I imagine there's a number of our membership in attendance here right now watching what's going on. And we hope that you can recognize that this contract's been vetted by our labor attorney. From what I understand, it's been vetted by the township attorney and the township labor attorney. All those questions that are being raised, as far as I'm concerned, they've already been addressed. And I think this contract is a benefit not only to the PBA, but to the township and to the residents of Howell Township. And I think the right thing, as far as my position is to move forward and follow the process out the way it was designed to be done. And that's pretty much all I have to say regarding that matter. And I
Jim,
once again, I thank you.
Thank you, Jim, very much. You know, you and Ryan both know that I have supported you guys 100%. And it's not that I'm not supporting this contract. This is not what I'm asking. I'm asking to be able to review what's in 2 documents that I received this afternoon. This contract is still on the agenda and will still be voted on the agenda. My request was time to review the information that I was given during my workday that I did not have time to read.
Mr.
And
Mayor,
I
may I-
don't think, I'm sorry.
may I respond to that?
Sure.
It's, this is, as far, I mean, my experience with negotiating contracts is not widespread, but this is somewhat unusual, an unusual turn of events. And for a third party, or essentially a third party, to interject at the last hour like this, at the timing of it is suspect in and of itself. The timing was, from my opinion, was designed to not allow you to review. But if you had never received this letter, if you had never received this notification, we would have proceeded as followed, based upon the practice that's been going on for years in negotiating your contracts. The only thing that's different is somebody else threw a wrench into the works, and that was designed to halt this process, as far as I'm concerned.
Again, Jim, I'm not asking everybody here will vote their vote. I'm just asking for me personally. Look, I cannot vote on this without reviewing both documents. Like I said, I didn't have time to read Joe's, and Joe's document was 7 paragraphs long, if not less, maybe 6. I just finished work and I got onto this line to pick up this call. So I personally did not have time to even read Joe's response to the letter that I received today. So I just feel, Teresa Berger, feel I need time to review this contract. It does not mean I am not going to vote yes at the end of the day. All I'm asking for is time for evaluation of 2 pieces of paper that I received today. That's all I'm requesting.
When did you receive this letter, Mayor? You said today.
I received today. I received one from Joe about 4 o'clock, and one from the other one was about 2:30 or so, 2:40 or so.
Yeah, that's true.
That's when I received them. But I was working today, and I was actually outside doing some vaccines, so I wasn't inside at the computer. So I did not have time to review them prior to your meeting. And that's my only issue. So, I mean, I respect, Jim, I respect you and everybody in everywhere at the department. It has nothing to do with that. I'm only asking time for me to allow myself to feel comfortable in saying, no, I think this other one of this document doesn't make sense, or the other document doesn't make sense, and this is my vote. I just feel for me personally, I know that we're not involved in negotiations, but the financial aspect of the negotiations is the responsibility of the council. That's our fiduciary responsibility. And so, all I'm doing is just that one little request. You guys could say, you don't have to agree with me, and everybody can vote, and we vote the way we vote. I am just giving the reason why I personally do not feel comfortable right now saying yes or no to this. That's all I'm saying.
And to reiterate what Councilwoman was saying, and we all got this third-party email on the 11th hour, and some of us read it, some of us were not able to read it thoroughly. I understand that, but then we have our township attorney who chimed in, and I'm sure we knew he sent an email. I'm sure we glanced over it. I feel really bad for the PBA. They've been waiting very patiently, and they deserve a response. And like you said, Mayor, we are going to have the ability to vote on it, but as the mayor, and you're asking, for us to delay it, I'm not 100% sure at this point. Yeah, that's fine. But again, I have to reiterate the fact that we have a township manager, we have a township attorney, we have labor council.
Agreed.
PBI.
I'm very well aware. I'm well aware.
I know you're aware, but the public really needs to be really more aware as well. Of the process. And on the, and like,
Pam, you're not, I'm not sure that you're understanding.
why are you
I'm not
interrupting me?
stopping, but I'm
Why
not
are you
stopping your.
I'm sorry, I
process.
can't hear both of you at the same time, please.
I'm not stopping your process.
Mayor, but you're stopping me from speaking. Please, thank you. I know. My point is that, again, we left it to the professionals. They recommended, they negotiated this contract in good faith. An 11th hour plea to stop the contract today, whether it happens in 2 weeks or not, is unfair to these guys. They're the frontline workers. They are the face of our township. So with that third party stepping in and throwing this in the 11th hour is very, very unfair of all of them. And even to us as a governing body, it was.
That's my point. But that is my point
That is the
specifically.
point.
It is unfair. That's my point.
But it shouldn't change the fact that they worked hard on this. Our professionals are being paid and they're the ones doing the negotiation. And again, I say it in good faith that this was done that way. And Jim is right. It to me is suspect. It's very, very suspect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything else to say on the topic?
I don't even know what those statutes say, so I got,
I don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was part of the discussion of the report of township officials. Jim, you're still out here with us. Is there anything else that you would like to say at this point?
No, Mayor. I thank you for the opportunity to speak. I think I've stated my case. I just want to reiterate that the membership, the PBA membership has been very, very patient. And I think the people that go out to work and do this job every day, I think they deserve this contract. And I hope that it can get done tonight when it was supposed to get done, and that this hasn't interfered with it to the point that we can't move forward. That's the PBA's position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Hey, if you allow me a moment, I'll move him out of the room. Mayor, in closing, there's a few comments in that letter that are factually incorrect. I'm telling you that firsthand information. So I am recommending that this is a fair deal for the township and it should be approved.
Okay. I appreciate that. And I'm not discounting the work that you put into it. I'm not discounting the work that PBA put into it. That's not my issue. Supported PBA every single part of the day. But there's no reason for me to reiterate what I said. How I feel is how I feel personally. As a professional, I do things a certain way. So at this point, if we can, I would like to move forward towards reports of the township officials. If you allow me to close this topic so I can move forward. Mr. Bonovich, Councilman Bonovich, do you have anything that you would like to report under the for the officials?
I'm just wondering if this whole discussion we just had would have been beneficial to have an executive.
Might have been. It usually is an executive, actually. In years prior, it has been an executive. So, but do you have anything else that you want to give out, John?
I just want to say DPW, kudos. I mean,
Yeah.
That's a record-breaking storm. A lot of emails. I'm sure all the council got those emails. What about my block? And I'm like, no, I can never call in from my block. I can't do that. But you know what? The few emails that came in, I directed them to DPW, and the residents came back with, applause. They're like, wow, that was quick. What a great job they did. So really want to give credit where credit's due. The DPW did it. Looks like we got a lot of a fun February ahead of us. Hopefully they can keep at it. Doesn't wear them down, but thank you guys.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'd echo the entire council and thanking our DPW. I also got an email, or I think it was a message that they were doing too good of a job in the sense that they were going over patches of area that were already done. That's a good problem. So thank you to all of our DPW workers for a fantastic job. And like the councilman said, it looks like we're gonna have snow this week too, right? So.
Yes, it's actually the whole week. We're gonna get flurries through the weekend. So if you have to go shopping, go soon. Deputy Mayor, are you?
I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Yes, as you all know, you received the report from the Zoning Board of Adjustment for their end of the year report. And as always, they have usually upwards of 10 recommendations. And there are certainly some things in this year's report that I think we should be looking at quickly and with vigor. And I know that I'm sure Mr. Howard has already addressed some of these. As a matter of fact, the stormwater issue is on tonight's agenda. So I shouldn't say I'm sure he has. But there are some things in here that would make life easier for applicants, residents, and boards and commissions. So when we have our meeting, our group workshop, if you will, about how we're going to grow Howell, maybe we can throw this in as some of the things that need to be looked at pretty quickly. But I mean, just silly things in a way, like shed and generator always needed a variance. Need to just bring that up to the 21st century. I mean, generators are almost commonplace now, and understandably so with our JCP&L company. The buffer easements, how they're measured has been a chronic problem for years. Definitely need to address that and get that under wraps, how it's measured. And that affects just so many applications. Again, another variance is requested. This goes on. And every time something's granted, for some reason, the public always thinks that something bad is happening, but it's because the rules aren't being done properly. We need some better guidelines. So as I said, the stormwater change is on tonight's agenda. The state, this is actually modeled after the DEP. So, once we follow the DEP, God knows we're always right then, aren't we? But we need to move, on these reports efficiently. So hopefully, we all get a chance to look it over for the next meeting. And maybe Mr. Howard can sort of sum up some things for us that we can work on quickly. And that's my major thought for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Richmond.
Yes, hi. I have two things. And of course, to reiterate what everyone else said about our DPW staff and our administration, everybody was on it with their videos and stuff, sharing information about removing cars and all that good stuff. Just one thing I just wanted to clarify at our last council meeting. So a resident had asked about a link or if we knew about a court case for the warehousing. And to be fair, only because Joe Clark, he deserves that. He did send a link out to the governing body. And I was there and Deputy Mayor O'Donnell was in that room. I didn't say anything because I wasn't sure which court because there's so much litigation going on. But when I verified it, there was a link sent to the governing body and it was in our calendar, well, albeit 10 minutes before, because that's when I think Joe Clark had gotten it. To be fair, it was like 10 minutes before that started. I did join the court case and I heard some of the hearing and then I got knocked out and they wouldn't let me back in. Don't blame them, but we were there. And I just wanted for the record to be clear that it wasn't fair that it was out there that no one heard anything about this and it was a big secret and it wasn't. So Joe, I just wanted to clear that up for you. Other than that, thank you, everybody, and I'm good.
I have one more thing, Mayor.
Sure.
I want to thank Brian and Joe. Great job during the snowstorm, guys. I called you, texted you, I bothered you. Yeah, you guys did a great job. Oh, we were never left in the dark. So.
Town manager, do you have anything that you would like to share with us this evening?
Just to reiterate, the big topic of the day is snow over the past week and what's looking like the upcoming week. I would just ask the residents to remember they could please clear their cars from the road when our DPW is out trying to sand and plow, and also to remember to clear your sidewalks after the storm ends. We're trying to keep everyone safe and get the roads cleared as quickly as possible. I know blocking in driveways is always a frequent complaint. We're actually going to publish a diagram a few other towns have shared about a good way to shovel your driveway so you don't get plowed in by the passing snow plows. So that'll be posted to our website, hopefully within the coming few days.
Hey,
That's
Brian?
all I have, Mayor. Yes.
Thank you.
Since we're on the topic of snow and it's going to affect the budget, last year we had a $400,000 surplus. Then we moved it in because of COVID. Where do we stand? We got money from CARES. did we need that 400,000? Do we have that available for surplus? Because if it keeps snowing like this, we're gonna need it.
We still do have the snow trust available. I do have Lou in the room, but if you need totals, I'm sure he could look it up, but it might take a few minutes to pull that up, so.
Yeah, I just remember it was
But we-
400,000. We moved it for COVID.
Yeah.
Now look what, we're probably gonna need it. So Lou, you got something?
Well, let's give Lou, how about we give Lou a couple of minutes to review it
Absolutely.
as
I
we
just thought of that
continue
as a
down
thought.
the agenda because it's 6 o'clock.
Yes.
And is it raining out there? I'm just a little nervous.
Yeah, that's why we start at 4 o'clock now, so we could go to like, midnight.
You know? Okay, so Mr. Clark, do you have anything that you would like to share with the governing body this evening?
One quick point. I want everybody to review the email I sent. I want everybody to pay particular attention to point number 3. There's a reason this letter came today, and I'm not going to go into detail, but it typically doesn't happen. And there's a reason it did. And I addressed what I think should be done with that.
Okay. Thank you. As I
Thank
said,
you.
I have not had time to read that. Okay, so we have discussion points under Carmine DeFalco, Fine Credit Inc., Shop Local Initiative Property Tax Card Program in Howell. Who is leading that discussion?
Mayor, if I would, I have Carmen in the audience. I'm going to bring him into the room. I believe he has a brief presentation for the
Sure.
governing body as a whole on the Shop Howell initiative that's being considered by the Business Recovery Task Force, and Deputy Mayor Russo had asked for this to be presented to the whole council. Carmine, you're still
There you
muted.
go. Yes, yes. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members of the council, for inviting me to speak tonight. My name is Carmine DeFalco, and I'm the president of Fine Credit Inc. We started the property tax reward card program about 10 years ago, and we are now in 26 townships in New Jersey. We had several discussions with the town manager, with Joe and Tom, about bringing the program to Howell. The way it works is very simple, just a few words. The township issues cards such as this one. This one is for Long Branch, to the entire community. When people shop in town, participating retailers, they will present the card, which gets scanned, and a percentage of the sale, whatever the merchant wants to do, goes back to this person's property tax bill. So the more I shop in my own town, the more property tax credits I earn. The merchants like the program because it's very inexpensive to them. They just give a reward back, and they're already accustomed to do that. And it doesn't cost anything to the township. We charge $10 a month, which normally is paid for by the merchant. Plus, we keep 25% of the reward. So if a restaurant gives back 10%, the user, the resident, will get 7.5%, and we keep 2.5% for our administrative fee. Once a year in July or June, July, we send a one payment file to the tax collector, who presses a button, and all the block and lots, which we keep track of, get credited for the amount of the shopping that they've been doing for the past 12 months. And everybody can check online their credits as they shop. So this is in a nutshell how the program works. We've been successful in many towns. Like I said, we have 26 towns. It's all what you put into the program. If you work on the program, you'll do really well. If you just keep it in the corner, maybe you'll save $5,000, $6,000 a year in property taxes. But usually township like Brick Township, they usually save $60,000 to $70,000 in property. They get property tax credits of about $60,000 to $70,000 a year, and sales of about $2 to $3 million a year utilizing the card. So these are the work in a nutshell. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It doesn't cost anything. There's the cost of the card, but usually in most cases, the township gets it sponsored by by a sponsor, a large business in town, a bank, whoever wants to sponsor it. So that's how it works in a nutshell. I mean, I'll take some questions, but I think you guys pretty much know how the program works already.
Carmine, good seeing you, man. Can you see me?
Councilwoman, Councilman O'Donnell.
Oh, sure.
Hi, Carmine. I heard your presentation in the fall at the meeting, so I feel a little familiar with it. I'd like to know, has anyone joined this program since the pandemic has begun?
That's a good question.
We have been talking to 2 townships in addition to Howell, and they want to join the program. It's a process. And the pandemic not only slowed down a lot of the businesses, I have to say, the revenue were down, obviously, because all the restaurants closed, but it also slowed down government business. And so you need a resolution, maybe an ordinance. And so everything slowed down. We still have townships that are very interested, but the answer is no, we have not signed up. Nobody joined the program yet in the past 6 months. That we
I will
discussed.
say that although we've changed the way we're working, we haven't slowed down our workload, just to say the least. So I don't know that we can say that towns or municipalities haven't joined because, you know, they haven't had as many meetings. What I can say is they're probably wondering how their business owners can afford to give out any more money. You know, there's a membership or $10 a month, and then they are going to give back for the tax 5 to 10%. Is that the parameter?
Whatever they want to do, it is up to them. It depends on the business. But the important point, Councilwoman, that I want to bring out is that understand the merchants already work with discounts. We did not create discounts. That's a very known, that's the way of doing business. A lot of people use Groupons and coupons and all those things. We are just another vehicle that allows them. But the spin that we have is probably tax credits, which was never done before.
I agree. They do have other incentives. And I mean, typically it's a sale. Right? We're all used to seeing a sale. So you can say a Groupon, or this is a sale, that's a sale.
Yeah.
But my concern is when our businesses are probably seeing the least amount of a profit margin, this may not be the best time for them to say, I'd like to join up. I think I'll get more traffic as a result, which I don't know that that can even be really measured. More traffic for the business. My concern is they have to keep reaching in their pocket. When I was at that meeting in the fall, when you made your presentation, I will say that there were a couple of businesses that were within earshot of me that said they simply just can't do that now. It's just not a good time for them to be able to indulge in this. And my concern is that participation may not be as robust as other towns may have been in, say, 8-10 years ago when things were good. You know, money was, you know, flowing a little better. So I don't know that this is the best time for us to say to our businesses, we'd like you to reach in your pocket a couple of more times in hopes that, you know, you'll increase your business. Because big stores like a grocery store, their profit margin is so slim that they're not going to participate. So in my mind, I'm thinking a lot of the smaller businesses would probably benefit the most. However, typically what I'm finding from people just talking to me, because I go to those meetings, this is the worst time for them. So I don't know that the timing on this is a good thing for our business owners. I think at this point, I would want to see something from the businesses, you know, maybe a little, you know, blip, you know, where, yeah, I'm in, I'm out, you know, do we even have any real interest at this point from our business owners? Because you know, like several years ago, this was spoken about at the council level, and there was more, I think, more eagerness toward it then. Now I'm not hearing that kind of eagerness. So I'm not sure that we have, you know, we have that this time. So that's a real concern for me.
Councilwoman, you do bring up a great point. The thing that I will leave you with is, townships need to do something for their merchants because they're hurting. Just sitting idle is not going to help them. Just waiting is not going to help them. But what we do, we start a program only when we have at least 15 to 20 merchants joining the program. We're not going to spend a dime or start a program because it doesn't make sense for us either to have a program where you have 2 merchants. Makes no sense. You have to have at least 15 to 20 merchants, half of which high traffic areas such as a grocery store or a restaurant. And once you have those, then we can start the program. I will not start a program if you have an interior designer and an architect joining the program. So,
So my concern really is the pockets of the business people.
as I said
That's, you know,
before,
that's where my head is.
as I said before, our program is arguably the least expensive form of marketing that a merchant can do, because you spend $10 a month. And in fact, today I was on the phone with another township who's going to pick up that $10 a month for the people that are going to join for a period of a year. So it
Well,
doesn't.
Carmen, I'm sorry, what advertising do you do for their $10 a month? What do you do? What do you give the business?
First of all, we really do not do the advertising part as part of the $10, because we provide the platform, we provide the backup, we provide all the customer service. But I'll tell you, every month we send out coupons out. So if they want to do something extra, hey, come in the month of August where we are not busy, you use your card, then we give you an extra 5% off. We do those kind of marketing. We send out every month, meet the merchant. Every month we select 1 or 2 merchants, which we send out to all the users. Another thing that they get is the email address and name of all the people that join their businesses. So if you go to a restaurant, they automatically get your email address. And that's a way for them to gauge how well they're doing in the community. So there are many advantages to this program that a regular Clipper magazine or one of these coupon magazines are not going to provide. And they do charge $400 to $500 every time you want to get into those magazines. But I hear you. It's not always the best time. But I think actually, ironically, this is the best time to do a program like this. That's my belief. Only because of that reason. That's because people are hurting. This is the time to do it because people are hurting.
Mayor, can I follow up with Councilman O'Donnell who spoke of?
Please.
So, all right, Carmine, Councilman Bonovich. I never met you. I know of the program. I know Brick does it, Marlboro, a lot of towns done it. They've done it for a long time. So you're saying it's $10 per month for the location. So XYZ shop joins up, it's $10 a month. The platform, well, I'll take a step back. Then you're saying the XYZ shop gets to choose the percent of what they're giving back, correct?
That's correct.
Now, is it a net percent, a gross percent? Because if you're selling a car, well, you're selling a pizza pie, 10% of a $50,000 car, 10%.
There's a cap.
That's, yeah.
Is it a net? Well, I guess my question is it net or gross? And then you have a platform that's in existence, and we all want businesses to have, we want to increase their volume. So, couldn't we do something where FinTech just says, all right, we'll waive it for 6 months, but we'll start on month 7 to $10 a month, just to get us in there, because they're hurting. I mean, I don't want them to pay $2 a month. I really don't. Or if you just a proposal, can we do it, waive it for 6 months? Can we do it for less per month? A rock bottom number for the first year? I'm just throwing things out there. And then the next question I have is, you said one township, you said 60 to 70,000 offset in property taxes.
Yeah.
Am I correct when you said that?
That's correct.
So 60 to 7,000, but what does that average out per household? Like, what's the maximum person? Did a house save $2, $20? How did you get to that 60 to 70,000?
So, Councilman, you threw 3 questions at me, and that's why I wrote it down, because
Not more, but we'll start there.
Your first question was about the discount. The discount is on the gross, but you're right. There are big ticket items that you cannot just discount based on the gross. So what happens is they put caps. So we do have automobile industry, automobile dealerships that come in, but they say, hey, for a new car, you get 5%, but top $200. And so there's a cap. So you can cap that. So the answer is it's really up to the merchant what he wants to do. The other question is $60,000, $70,000. a year in discounts on, say, $2-3 million worth of sales utilizing the card? The answer to that is it depends on the people. If I work, I use Shop Marlboro, I live in Marlboro. I use my card every time we go out. And I always say this all the time. I go with my wife, we stay in Marlboro a lot more than going to Freehold or other places now that I have the card. And I just use it for restaurants and stuff. I save about $300 to $400 a year. I've seen people saving $2, people that do not utilize it, I'll be honest with you, but I see people that save $1,000. The mayor of Marlboro saves about $600-700 all the time, John Hornick. I don't know if you know the name, but John goes out and he only patronizes people that are in the Shop Marlboro program. So it's really what you want to make of it. If you go up by your business and just remember to use the card whenever, you'll be saving $300-400. But I've seen people $20. I've seen people $50. I've seen people.
Yeah, I was just saying, is there an average dollar amount? I'm sure you use it and Mayor Hornick uses it like crazy. But what if what's the average user? That was my question.
If you take out the top dollars and the bottom dollars, you can easily save $150-200.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
He has argued many times at town council that that's more than the increase of the municipal portion of the taxes that he increases. So in other words, for him, it's a net plus, if you know what I'm talking
I
about.
got you. Sure.
Councilman, you done? Sorry, John.
Yeah, I'm good for now.
Okay. Carmine, so I have a couple of questions. What happens if you're a renter and you don't pay taxes?
That is a good question. I'm sorry I didn't bring it up. I want to rush through the presentation because I know it's late for everyone. Councilwoman, thank you for the question. If you rent or you're a visitor, so you're just working town, let's say, you get a rebate check from us at the end of the year. So you still can use it. The idea is to drive your traffic in town. Don't let them go home at night. Go to the local restaurant, the local hair salon, nail salon. That's the idea.
Okay. Is there an equipment fee charged to the businesses?
We used to use those funny looking, machines where you swipe. Right now, everything is on Android. So with the phone, they can buy their own Android telephone. They buy it, it costs $50, $100, whatever it costs, and they can put it in the store and they can scan it. Or if they have an Android, they can just download the app and they can do it on their own. If they want it from us, we'll sell them an Android, but we go out and buy it ourselves. So it's about $100 with a nice little stand. Otherwise, they can use their own. We are trying to get also on the iPhone now, so it won't even cost, in case people, a lot of people use iPhones. So.
Okay. Is there a contract that they're stuck in for so much time? And if there is, can they opt out at any time?
They do not get stuck with any contract. They can opt out at any time. Just give us notice. And by the way, the same thing with the township. The township can call us, say, Carmine, doesn't work for us. Thank you very much. Let's move on. We part friends. Just give us a couple of months to undo all the credits.
Okay, I have two more things and then I'm good. Letter of intent to the businesses. Have we done the research to see what kind of interest our businesses have? Or we just kind of figuring we're going to get 15 to 20, or maybe that's something for Deputy Mayor.
That's not a question for me. Go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Pam. So we unofficially solicited businesses. We, as in members of the task force, went around in our day-to-day. A lot of the members of the task force live, work, and shop in Howell already. So in my own experience, I polled a few businesses that I frequent regularly, and everybody seemed to be on board. The big question, I don't want to cut off Councilwoman Richmond's time. Okay. Is it okay if the big question?
I have one more thing after that, so go ahead. Go ahead.
We'll go right back to you, Pam, but
okay.
It's a good segue into this question. Is basically, and I think it was asked by Councilman Ivanovich, was, how does it, do businesses see a growth? Will I see more business come in, or has this worked in other towns? And after speaking to you about Brick and Marlboro and Manalapan, it seems that it's been a success, and more importantly, a success through the pandemic. Now, the question is, and this is a question a couple of the businesses had, is have townships done away with this program during the pandemic? locally in Monmouth County, Ocean County?
Yeah, yes, and the answer is no. We haven't lost a single town since we started 10 years ago. But I'll tell you, I'll be totally honest, our revenues went down. Our revenue was down. I mean, our business has been, because obviously
It makes sense.
we get paid based on the reward that they give back, because we get a 0.25%. So if a restaurant is closed, we're not making any money. Our revenue went down about 30 to 40%. In 1 month, even 50%.
Right.
So we're not back where we used to be. That's for sure. So that's the answer to that.
Yeah, but the big question is, how does it help? Are these businesses that are participating in the program in other towns seeing a benefit? And the fact that this program these towns have been involved in the program for 10 plus years is a good indicator to me that this program is working.
I just want to tell you that I don't know if you noticed, but there's legislation which is being now is at the level of Senate, state Senate, to approve the program, so that we will be basically validated also by the state of New Jersey, so that we can have our own space, a property tax card space on the actual bill that you get. Right now, if you look at the bill, there's just an empty box where you put the homestead credit and all the other credits and our credit. But after the law passes, we're going to have our own little box. I don't know if that helps, but it's a way of validating the program as well.
Councilwoman?
And this is to a point that was brought up, I think, a few weeks ago, the mayor and I think deputy mayor. This was brought up 4 or 5 years ago, right? So why do you think that it will work now when it didn't take off, or for whatever reason? I know it was in front of the chamber didn't support it. So what's the difference now, 6 years later, or I'm sorry, Mayor, 4 or 5 years, maybe it was, that we should support this and we should see, our businesses jump on this, and obviously our taxpayers and the township, because I think Deputy Mayor, you said it's going to cost us about 10 grand to get this off the.
So the initial cost, my understanding, Carmine, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but I believe it was $5,000, the cost of the cards. The initial idea, I think, when we spoke initially, Carmine, was do 10,000 cards initially. It's $1 per card. I would support 5,000 first. We are a town, 55,000 people, but we can always add more cards later on. We can't go back in time. We can't refund them, but we can get more if we need more. The hope is we need more. That means it's working. But 5,000 would be the initial cost to the township for the cards.
And that would come out of township budget, yeah?
Correct.
The problem that you guys encountered.
I'm sorry, Carmine, or Joe, and maybe this is a question for you, whether we would be able to get sponsors. I don't know the legality of that, and that's something that I think you would have to speak to.
It's certainly something I would look into. I think the notion in the past was that there would be sponsors to defray the cost. So I suppose, like everything, the devil's in the details, and we'd have to see exactly how it would work.
I just want to say,
Carmine, I have a question. In the other towns, what I want to call it big box or bank or something like that has helped support in the other towns? Where do we have those similar businesses in our towns that we can then say, you provide this service in Marlboro and Brick in Tallahassee. Can we have the same, support from your business in Howell? So have you worked with like I want to call it BJ's and ShopRites and all the other Lidls and whatever have you? TV Bank.
So Maya, you're talking about supporting in terms of paying for the cards, or supporting as a participant participating in the program?
I'm talking about supporting for township support with the cost toward the township.
Like I said before, all of the townships, all 26 townships, have gotten the cards supported by sponsors.
Right.
They're not taking out any money. You can have up to 4 sponsors in the back of the card. they all have the sponsors in the back of the card. And it's good advertising for them because the cards do not expire. So once you get on the card, it's there forever.
Okay.
That's the answer.
But I think just a little bit further, if I may, are those the types of organizations that are assisting, like a TD Bank or Walgreens, or are those the companies that we should be looking towards to help support the program?
Mostly
And is it successful in other areas?
Mostly are the banks and the insurance companies. And the financial, I mean, I will start with the people, with the companies you work with, the engineers, Joe as a lawyer, he can sponsor some. So there's many ways of sponsoring the cards. But the point I want to make, Councilwoman, you said something very interesting before, but right now I forgot. So I'm sorry, I want to answer that question.
No, I did ask why this was brought up about 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. So I was just
I'm going by memory because I did work very, very closely with one of the council people, the former council people, years ago. Apparently, you could not find the funding for the cards. We didn't even go as far as talking to the merchants.
Okay.
We didn't go that far.
Just a point of clarification, if you're talking about the same council person, they actually did have somebody that agreed to pay for the cards. And it still didn't take off. As I was told, there wasn't enough interest from businesses at that time. But yes, they did go to, I think it was a bank that offered to do the cards. So, I mean, does it happen? Yes. You know, banks do step in frequently.
I'm going by memory. I believe there was $1,000 committed from somebody, and $1,000, let's face it, it's not worth it. I would recommend against it because it makes no sense that we go through the entire thing for 1,000 cards. 5,000, Tom, it's a low amount for your town. You don't want your town to be embarrassed. If this takes off, and like I said many times,
I don't know. I think 1,000 cards instead of no cards is a better option, but
no, well, the thing is,
I mean, if you're willing to take 15 or 20 businesses to start this, then 1,000 cards doesn't seem so out of the scope of the possibilities.
Well, let me just give you some numbers. I believe you have 20,000 households. If you advertise it the way you're supposed to advertise, hey, come and get your cards to get your property tax discounts, you're going to have maybe at the very beginning, depending how you're going to advertise it, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 families already coming in and picking up their cards. Plus, each family can have multiple cards also. So if you have that, you're going to run out of cards pretty quickly. But we can print cards. That's not a problem. It's just at 1,000. I recommend it against it. It made no sense for 1,000 cards. I didn't want to embarrass the township or ourselves.
Other than the, like you said, embarrassing. You print stuff, 5,000 or 10,000. It's actually going to cost us more to print 5,000 than 10,000 in the end.
Right.
Per card goes up.
Right.
So
Typically.
that's not the difference. But I'm still stuck on, you didn't answer my question earlier.
Yes.
Would you waive that $10 for the first 6 months?
That is correct. I did not answer your question. But, no, I mean, the answer to the question is, and I guess I answered indirectly. We are just a business like any other business, and we suffer like any other business under these conditions. What I did was I kind of changed the business model a little bit and offered to the township and to the other townships that we're trying to do the possibility of saying, guys, let's do a license agreement. Let's do $10,000 a year, and we're not going to collect $1, and we're not going to collect the 25% from your users. So I know what my cost is to run the program in a town, and I could live with that. So we can do it as a license play. If it doesn't work for the first year, then we part friends. So, but if it works, we continue.
So 10,000 to get in, that includes the price of the cards, or that's still simple?
You guys talk offline.
I'm playing. All right, we'll move on. We're getting information. This is great. This is good stuff.
Okay.
Mayor, I have a quick question if you don't mind.
Sure.
Carmen, I have a question for you. Of a resident's total tax bill, the township's portion is only roughly 16% here in Howell. Do you have any experience or have you seen where the other taxing entities share in any of the startup costs? For example, the Board of Education, the fire districts, or even the county?
No, no, it's just the town. Some new guys, unfortunately. I'll be honest. We tried with Tom Arnone to do a statewide, a county-wide program, because at one point they had something with Monmouth County and we wanted to do a card for them, and it did not work out. It's really up to the town. Each town has to, basically do it in their backyard, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Going back to the cards very quickly, we also have now an app where people can, and I think I showed you last time, when people can actually present the card. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, on the phone?
Right. So you technically, you wouldn't even need that many cards because, we are in beta testing. So we're trying to get it up and running ASAP. But there's still going to be a lot of people that are going to want the card, like especially the senior communities and the seniors.
Mayor?
Sure.
So Carmine, let me just make sure I understand everything. There was a lot of questions, a lot of specific questions. I just want to make sure I see the program from a 36,000 square view. So a participating business agrees to participate. The cost to them is the machine.
If they want it.
One-time cost, correct?
Yes.
Okay, the Android machine and whatever they agree to pay in terms of a discount.
Correct.
That's it.
That's it. If they do not swipe the card because there are no sales, it costs them nothing, just $10 a month, for which they get banners on our website. They get like the ability to do coupons every month. They get the ability of doing meet the merchants and whatever marketing the township is going to do, because we expect the township to do some marketing for their program.
So cost to the business, $100 for the Android machine, whatever they want to give to a discount, and then $10 a month, you said?
Correct.
To participate.
Correct.
And can the business leave whenever they want? What kind of notice do they need to give?
Couple of weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks. On the contract, we have 2 weeks.
And I believe Councilman Bonovich asked this, but the average savings to the average household, do you have those numbers or no?
We do, but there's some that, I'll be honest, there's so many that earn the $1, $3, $10, $20 that is skewed to the bottom. I would say that if you, that's why I always say, if you use your card consistently, you remember to use your card, you are going to save $200 to $300. If we do the average, it's too much of a pool of people. You're going to skew towards the bottom.
Okay. All right.
Carmine, does ShopRite accept this card?
I wish they did. Unfortunately, they do not. And you will see that the large big box as well as the big supermarkets, they do not get in because every time they go to their headquarters, it gets stopped. The GM will always love the program because it makes a lot of sense. But when they go to corporate, that's where the problem lies. We do have Food Emporium on 79. I don't know if you're familiar with that location. And they work really well.
What about like in town, we do have Lidl. What's the other store the food store that we do have BJ's, some of the larger, I'm sorry.
Mayor, if I can interject here, we're actually getting into contract negotiations. Like,
I think I was just trying to gather information, not really contract negotiation.
I understand, but yeah, we should probably ask Carmen to put his best offer forward, and at that time, the body can consider it.
Perfect.
As a general thing, usually the people that own the businesses. Now, if they're owned by local business, so we have the Dunkin' Donuts, the franchisees, and all of that. We have those guys in. When you talk about ShopRite and the big guys, they do not join.
For Carmine, for each town, say Marlboro and Belmar, on your website, so it'll say participating. Everyone that participates, a restaurant, mom and pop, whatever. But so you're just basically saying the big shops don't want it. It's the little guys that want this card, correct?
the big guys are very hard to get to because they usually do programs system-wide. So if you go to Costco, you have to do Costco system-wide, and that's impossible.
Gotcha, gotcha. Makes
It's not
sense.
going to work. I wish it did.
Carmine, I think, so do we have any other questions?
Thank you, Carmine. I appreciate it.
Carmine, thank you so much.
Mayor.
This is quite
Everybody, thank you very much
informative.
for the questions.
Thank you very
Thank-
much, and
you.
we look forward to reviewing your proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are we ready? At this time, I would like to move forward with hearing of citizens and public comments on the consent agenda. On the consent agenda.
Mayor, there's 2 comments that were emailed in earlier today, so I'll
Yes.
read those into the record first. And then in the meantime, I would ask any of the audience members to raise their hand and I will call on them shortly after. All right, the first one is an email received from a James Moretti. Question for the mayor. Now that the election is over, I hope we can now get back down to business. You campaigned on stopping developments. When can we see your plan and how this can take place? Do you have a plan? And if so, when can we expect to see it issued to the town? Thank you.
So unfortunately, my plan is not I'm not the only person who makes the plan. So, but my personal thoughts around this is that to be able to stop unwanted development in our town, I believe personally, since the question was to me, that we need to do stop zoning. We can't just spot zone, and we shouldn't be changing rules at spot changing. And I think everything should be more transparent, which I don't think that it is. I think the only way for us to stop any kind of development is to have absolute transparency on all projects that are going on in the town. I don't think that everybody is aware of all the projects that are going on around town. And so that's one of the issues that I have. I also, to be perfectly honest, the majority of the council has been approving things across, last year and this year over projects that I felt and I fought against, namely, it doesn't matter. We've gone through them all. So I've also fought against that, and I'm going to continue to fight against that. I think that the only way to have good growth in our town is to be able to sit down and realize what the people in our town want from Howell. I mean, I don't think that we have much participation from the people that live in our town. And that's why I wanted to have that committee that I want to join. So, and that committee that I'm going to have, I would like to have 15 members of our community. It's going to be 3 members from each of our fire districts. Each one of those districts will have 1 vote within that group. And that group is going to, should be there with the planning board. It should be an advisory committee to be able to ensure that the projects that are going forward in town are the projects that the townspeople feel are good for the town, not the projects that, are growth for some political friends or things of that nature. I mean, at this point, I have fought and fought. I believe that if we continue to do things in vacuums, then different areas of our town are going to have establishments built there that we might not necessarily want. And so I think, and I believe that since this is a democracy, that our people in the town should have more input in what projects and some of the projects that are going on. And when I say the projects, input is important. If you're going to put a park right across the street from my house, I would like to have some information on that. If, people are going to be developing across the street where there was no development ever before, I think that I know that we do notify people, but it doesn't mean that they remember that it's occurring. So for me to begin to stop growth would be to have better information given out at these meetings, all of the projects that we're doing, all the projects that we're changing, all of the spot ordinances and the spot zoning should stop. I think that if we're going to continue to move forward in Howell, to keep Howell and not sell it out, I think that we need to, as a group, truly understand what we want, what the townspeople believe are good for Howell, because I'm not hearing from them. I'm hearing from local developers, and I'm hearing from people who own property and just want to turn that property into warehouses and or what have you. So that's the people that are making more decisions with this council than the people who live in the town. And in my personal opinion, the only way to stop development of this nature is to control the development that's occurring that is for, you know, political friendships and or personal. So that's my answer to that question. And thank you very much. Do you have another question?
Brian, before I just have to interject, and with all due respect, I don't understand what you mean by selling out. Who are we selling out to? People who, if it's permitted use, then
Kim,
it's
the question was, well, if some of it is not a permitted use,
I understand
sometimes
that,
it's
but-
not a permitted use. It's not an
Okay.
argument. The person asked he asked me a
Okay,
question, I answered it.
Also, spot zoning is illegal. So I don't know what.
I'm
where-
aware.
I'm sorry?
aware. I'm
Okay,
aware.
well, we spot zone when it's qualified for COA, and that's the only time that happens, and that's state regulations, if
Really?
I'm correct, Brian or Joe.
Not quite sure that's the case.
Oh.
But if you have point in case to prove, please.
Okay,
I will
but
find it on the other side.
You're alluding to the fact that this isn't for public view. Anything that we do as far as applications, it's for public review. It's the information is there. Don't mislead the people and make them think that it's not there and we have no transparency. That's very unfair and misleading.
Even your former teammate that ran for council admitted that our transparency was excellent. But, and
Evelyn, when
anytime
I
you want
don't
to have
receive
some kind of an
information
input with the
till 10
planning
mi-
board,
when
take your
the
designee
council-
off and take your seat, and then you'll know exactly what's happening.
Listen,
So when the council gets information 10 minutes before a court meeting or an hour before a
That's the
council
court's
meeting,
fault. Call
that
the
is not
court system.
transparent. I'm sorry.
Well,
Other
that's
people
the
knew
court that
about
did that.
before we
That was
did.
not the responsibility of this council. Don't lay it at our feet.
so
Don't make people
That
think
is very
something's
unfair.
I
happening that it
answered the
isn't.
question.
You
answered
Poorly,
the
but yes, you did.
You are lying. You are lying. That is a lie, a blatant
A
lie.
lie.
Open request to emails. That's a lie. And that's not fair to Joe Clark because that's a straight up lie.
What's a straight up lie?
That you got information 10 minutes and nobody else did. We got information prior to that. That's a lie. We
I
all
said
We all
got
got
it
it at the
at the
same
exact
time.
time.
The only, you know what though, Pam?
What?
You
Tell
didn't
me.
answer that question when I answered. You,
Tell me.
nor Councilwoman O'Donnell, nor Councilman Russo, none of you answered the question. The
Well,
question
and if
was
you-
out on the table. Listen,
Excuse me.
let me.
Should
wait
I
a
have
second.
embarrassed
Let me-
you and said you should read your emails?
You interrupt all the time. So don't put your hands up and tell me. Point of order, Joe. I'm speaking. That's number one. Number two is that I did say in my discussion earlier that I didn't answer it last meeting is because I wanted to make sure I had the information correct because I like to have my facts. So the fact of the matter
It was 10
was
minutes
that we
before.
did get notification.
Fact is fact.
Excuse
10
me,
minutes
I'm
before
still
is 10
speaking,
minutes
Mayor.
before.
all right.
Please.
I understand.
Show some decorum. Thank you. Anyway, I made a point of getting the information and bringing it forward to the public because you keep misleading the people. You
Can
keep
I-
misleading excuse me, Mayor, that we are not being transparent and we're getting information before you. And that's not true. So don't mislead the public because you do that a lot.
So
I'm done.
here's the
I do that a
solution.
lot.
Here's the solution. You're saying that it's not true. The solution is let's get this committee together.
Oh, absolutely.
Mayor has the right to put this committee together, a citizens advisory committee. Let the public be more involved. Let's not yell at each
What's the
other.
problem?
Let's get the public more involved. That's all. Let's put
There
this
is no
together.
problem. You know, last November I asked for this to happen and it didn't
asked
happen.
for what?
So why is that?
You asked for what?
So let's
Last
do
November,
it
I
now.
sent an email to
Okay.
our professionals, to
Let's do
Mr.
it
Clark
now.
and to Mr. Geegan, asking that we have, a meeting on how do you want to grow Howell? Wouldn't happen. So now 2 months later, you're like, oh, I have a great idea. Let's have the public sit on this committee and they get a vote. Well, here's a little bit of a problem. I mean, there's a lot of law behind some of this. So you have to explain to the public what's legal, what isn't legal.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, I totally
everybody doesn't
understand.
have, there's a wish list everybody has, of course. But just because nothing was built across the street from me and then they want to put a park up, I don't think that that raises the flag in 15 countries. I think I get my 200-foot notice. And if I care enough, I take myself to a meeting and voice my opinion. People, if they don't respond or they don't want to know, I mean, I can't make people want to care. You care or you don't care. But
That's fine.
you have
I
to,
totally respect and appreciate that. But at this point, I would like to convene this committee since it's my option. And
great
I will
idea.
have further information to share with the
and I'd
town
like, is the council
when
going
I
to be
move
part of this?
forward. Absolutely, Councilwoman. I would never leave you out.
Oh, thank you. That's all I asked for since last November.
I would never leave you out.
We can
Before you
refer
do that,
back to.
and Bonovich, Councilman Bonovich, sorry. No, I concur. I think it's a great idea. I would like to just know how we're going to select the people and who the people are. That's all.
Well, I
You
was
got
just
it.
looking, real quick,
This
'cause
is the preliminary portion of the program. I'm just sharing with you
Thank you.
my view of what I'm doing.
there's an-
and
we have an
As
ordinance,
it, I'm sorry, John. Go ahead.
we have an ordinance already, 015-13 from 2005. It's exactly this. It's entitled Citizens Advisory Committee for Community Development of the Code of Township. So it already exists on our books. We just got to put the group together.
Sounds good.
No one said it didn't.
I'll pass it around. I'll email everyone. It exists. We just need to put the committee together.
Oops. Okay, I'm in.
Mayor, if I can interject, we are still in the
Please.
public portion.
I
We have
know.
Other residents.
I'm aware.
All
I
right,
think you have
moving on
another
next.
question.
Well, I have a few members of the public wishing to attend. I want to remind everyone, since we got away from it, please raise your hand if you wish to participate. I have a second email from I'll apologize if I slaughter your name, Paul Boisvert. Dear Mayor and Council, as Chairman of the Master Plan Subcommittee, I am unaware of any budget discussion that discussed the master plan as part of the budget approval process for the 2021-2022 budget. It is my past experience. Master plan seems to be included in such discussions when there is a need to update the plan whereby funds are then allocated for such an effort. Such was the case with affordable housing and the housing element plan. Although it is the council's discretion to decide if funds will be allocated, I want to bring to your attention that many plans review a great deal of community data and involve public participation from the community to identify key priorities. With so much community discussion of overdevelopment and increased warehouse applicants, it would be helpful to review our traffic study, roads and pedestrian movement, which would fall under the circulation element. To identify future potential problems, I've only heard Councilman Bonovich object to this element study without any real conversations that I am aware of. I am confident the subcommittee, professionals, and public input will be beneficial for future Howell growth. I eagerly await council's guidance and decision. Respectfully yours, Paul Boisvert, Master Plan Subcommittee Chairman. And I will again apologize if I slaughtered his name.
Okay, so that's for me, huh?
Well, for the record, I was with you for the record. That was I guess he didn't hear me, but I voted no, I believe.
I'll
Go ahead, John.
So I moved here in 1994. You know, that's the last time this element was done in the master plan. Coincidentally, the same year I moved. So that's a long time. And, you know, circle plans, they're tricky. You know, like they're just going to identify what roads, what turns, and what roads we have to widen. So it's common sense that if we were to reclassify or look at our roads, the level is not going to be reclassified to a lower level. Obviously, 25 years, it's going to be a higher level. So who's to benefit that? You know, it's not the residents, it's developers. If you look at even at the Collingswood Circle, 34 and 33 in 1994, I looked it up. There was like 8,000 or 10,000 cars on that, you know, in that circle a day. Now we have so much development on 33, it's up to 36,000 almost. So to look at the circulation plan really scares me, really worries me. I don't think the residents want it. I think developers would want it. So it's not for me, but I will take it the next step because, you know, Mr. Bosworth's asking about money. The last element we reviewed was the land use element. So I guess there's a question for Lou. How much did it cost the township? And can I get copies of all those invoices and what went down when the last time we looked at an element in the master plan? How much did it cost? Was it 20? Was it 120,000? I don't have those answers. And for us to look at as a council, we need to know those numbers to entertain anything.
Councilman, if I can interject, that's going to take some time and research to request those numbers on the fly like this would be probably a disservice to our CFO or
Yeah,
anybody else.
I agree, but
That's
you know,
fair.
it's totally fair, but we definitely need to know those numbers. We you know. I
And
don't
Mr.
think
Clark,
$20,000
I'm sorry.
job.
Isn't there a legal requirement for the circulation plan as well? Doesn't the state require?
There are, again, you know,
Yeah,
it's a
you know.
complicated matter and we do need to
No.
drill down on a lot of this, so,
So,
but
And
the upshot is yes.
and I would ask Mr. Boswell, you know, personally, like the two biggest applications got turned down that the whole town or every resident was afraid of so far, the transfer station, the commerce station. If those roads were reclassified, we'd have that warehouse. We'd have that done. So I question that looking at the circulation element.
the transfer
Really.
station's out of our hands, but, and I don't know, reclassification would necessarily mean it would bring us more.
You want those roads? You know what you got. You can answer that question.
My question
Yeah,
is, there was I was reading up on it, and in the last plan that they looked at for the circulation, they talked about not wanting to put any mass transit in the town. I mean, why would we look at, if we have a lack of transportation in our town, which we certainly do, why aren't we looking at the other aspects of circulation or transportation by connecting maybe the rail and trying to figure out through the state if we can have that rail go through Howell? I mean, we already have a piece in there. So why wouldn't we be looking at, I mean, in 1994, maybe the volume of people that worked out of Howell was 60 to 70% less, even though my husband did still work in New York and traveled there every day. So there are people that travel back and forth from here to North Jersey or to South Jersey, and the only way to get there is by car. So that puts a disservice to a lot of people in the town who cannot get even to Brick or cannot get even up Route 9 or down Route 9 to be able to find a job. So we're looking at trying to change, you know, secondary roads to make them sub-collector roads and be able to increase so we can grow volume on those roads. But we're not looking at the mass transit that we might use in the town that could connect into other towns that might be more beneficial to other people that live here versus the people who want to just come in and build here. That's my opinion.
there is a history on the rail, and maybe Mr. Clark would know why the rail didn't go forward, actually why it stopped several years ago, the Monrail. I mean, there is history why things don't go forward, which typically.
Yeah, but it's
and
20 years
frequently-
later. It's almost 25 years later. I think that should be reviewed again. You know, history changes. History doesn't remain. Today's tomorrow's history. So, I mean, if we're looking at trying to look and at the town to benefit the people who live here, I think that's a piece of it that should be looked at. I don't think just changing secondary roads to roads that our tractor trailers can fly through is the way the people in our
Because
town want to grow.
That's true. And 9 and 33 are really the major roads that we look at to go to 195. So, and let's face it, Highway 33 and Highway 9 run parallel. And it's not just the people that live here. I mean, these people are going, you know, out of the state. You know, they're coming from Delaware, going to New York. Well, guess what? They're using these major arteries. So, you know.
Major arteries are not the concern. You know, let them continue.
Have
to
you
use
been
the
down
major
Route 9
arteries.
lately? It's a concern.
Yes, I have. But you're going to be able to expand Route 9? I don't think you
No,
can.
take a good look at that. Nope, not at all.
So, I mean, but I don't think the secondary roads in neighborhoods should be affected. I just believe that that's.
Maybe Mr. Clark can send a letter, a legal letter to the railroad and ask them, what do you want to do for Howell? Let's see what their plan is for us. Being, as a result, you know, we don't control the railroad, but would be nice.
No.
I will reach out. I mean,
Like the bus service up and down 9, you know, there are
regulated.
avenues
There's
of
a lot of
travel, but we
planning
don't
that goes
control
into
the
where they
bus trains
place.
either.
So
Is
I'll
not,
look into it.
Thank you.
Like I said, I mean, it's worth reaching out.
Thank you.
Brian?
Mayor, would you like to continue with the public participation?
Of course.
Okay. Again, I would ask any members of the public that wish to participate to raise your hand. First, I'm moving into the room is Sheila Hatami.
And before we get started with the public comments, I can remind everybody again, under our township policies, comments are limited to 5 minutes, 5 consecutive minutes. We don't stop the timer for when people are engaged in give and take with council. So I urge everybody to respect the time of the people, and if they want an extension, they can ask and there can be a vote of council for a 3-minute extension. But I would urge everybody to respect the time of the speaker.
Hey, Ms. Hatami, you're in the room and you can address the governing body, please.
Great. I'm Sheila Hatami. As you know, my family owns a number of properties along Yellowbrook Road. And to follow on the discussion y'all have been having, I wanted to inquire as to the workshop proposal that we had discussed last year about Yellowbrook Road, what the procedure is, what the timeline looks like, you know, what that's going to look like going forward, and if we can get that started.
Brian?
If you'd like me to comment, that was discussed earlier between the council members. They're looking to form a committee. Additionally, there's plans in the works to create a workshop format for our meetings to allow for more public participation. We're still working out the details of that, and I would expect that's being rolled out in the next month or so.
Okay, because I listened to the discussion. I wasn't quite clear. You know, I hear about the committee and about getting input from the committee and the townspeople about, you know, what the overall plan is. Certainly there was some discussion on the circulation, the traffic certainly impacts Yellowbrook Road. It's obviously a big concern there. But I just want to see, is it just then going to be referred to the planning board? Are we talking about workshopping in the planning board? Are we talking about workshopping in council meetings? What does this look like going forward?
So according to workshopping, that is Councilwoman O'Donnell's pet project. I personally, if there's no input from members of the town, I see no need for just a working meeting. This is a working meeting. This is what we're doing, we're discussing. So I just don't, I'm not quite sure, but please, it's Councilwoman O'Donnell's baby. So let her take it away.
Would you like me to respond, Sheila?
Yes, please.
Okay.
It's open to anyone who has information who would be, you know, involved in this process. I'm sorry, I have to hold my camera here. I have to
That's
keep
okay.
moving.
When I originally spoke about a workshop meeting, it was for the council to workshop one meeting and then actually vote at the second meeting per month. Basically, the thought for me was perhaps the meetings would run smoother and with less discord and with some kind of professionalism. That was that workshopping. When I talk about originally in November, when I spoke about the council workshopping, how would you like to grow Howell? It was the idea that this council should be making decisions. Do you want a warehouse? Do you want assisted living? Do you want more development for homes only? What do you want? You know, what is the council's growth vision? And then I thought at that point, then that information is clearer to the boards that make those decisions. So when I use the word workshopping in that instance, I think people may have been a little confused, thinking that that's the workshop that's going to come to the council meeting. I thought that kind of a meeting, workshopping, how do you grow Howell, really is a separate meeting. I think we could talk 5 hours on that, no problem. because there's so many different caveats to that. So that was my idea of having council come together and actually make some decisions, because that's why we're elected. Let's make the parameters, and then you bring in the community to voice their opinion. That was the way I was thinking. How will this pan out exactly? I'm not 100% sure, because I see we're taking a few turns, but that's not the point. So I was talking about a workshop meeting to try to make meetings work
Excuse me, there's 1 minute left.
and more expediently. That was my original workshop word. So you're free to call me anytime. I'll be happy to go over the whole thing with you. I realize I'm taking up your actual question time. But,
Oh, no, that's okay. If y'all don't mind, I would request the 3 minutes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I have seen it done because I did a little research on this. This is not my area of practice per se, but
I'm sorry to jump in, Ms. Hatami. I mean, just as a matter of protocol, because it's the first time we've had a request for an extension, it's done by the vote of council.
oh,
Forgive me.
sorry. I might be able
And
to
I-
squeeze in what I wanted to say in the last minute anyway, which is I have seen other towns do a workshop within the planning board. That is, they notice the public for the workshop meeting in the planning board, and then, you know, concerning a particular area or zone or rezoning or group, large area, whatever it is, and then that's taken to the planning board with public participation.
understood.
Is that something the town is considering?
That's something that I am considering, yes. That's part and parcel of this group that I would like to be together, that I would like to put together, this 5 district, right? I want to go by the fire districts. We have 5. I would like each one of those districts to have 3 people that are representative of that. And each district will have, you know, if there's a vote on something, we'll only have 1 vote. Because if there are 5 people, you know, it could only be 1 vote per district in my logic right now. So as the team,
Clarify that. That's not a vote, like an official vote, like
Right.
council. That's a vote within your group, within your committee, correct?
correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so that's
So
getting
this-
input, but that's a little different than actually having like all the public come to a workshop for a particular area.
I would love all the public to come to a particular area. I've been asking for open meetings and the like. Unfortunately, we've not been able to accommodate thus far. Hopefully within the next month or so we can. At least if we have 20 people in the audience, that might be, you know, something that we can work with. Right now, not a lot of people come on to talk. And so it's difficult to even have that workshop in this type of forum, I believe, unless it's specifically set up.
Yeah, and I just know that, you know, I know my neighbors want to address this. I know that, you know, time is of the essence, and particularly concerning this area, you know, certainly it's a hot topic for the town. So I just want to make sure we're in the loop and we know what's going on and when to come and participate and, you know, share our point of view and our concerns and all of that.
Sheila, do you have my contact information?
I believe I do, Dr. Berger,
Okay,
yes.
so let's connect offline.
Okay. All right, very good.
Perfect.
And I will connect with you as well, Councilwoman O'Donnell. Thank you.
I look forward to it, Sheila. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if you'll allow me a moment, I will move her out of the room. And next I have Mr. Joe DeBella.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I appreciate the opportunity to make my comment, ask my question. I will say more of a comment. This is the public portion, so hopefully I can get through my remarks without being interrupted. This is not a workshop meeting. What I have watched tonight and what the people of this community have watched tonight has been a train wreck. There is a lack of leadership. There is a lack of a chair. There is a lack of clarity. There is a lack of focus and direction. And this isn't the reason I dialed in tonight, but I have to suggest the resident who just commented is spot on. A workshop meeting is an opportunity to workshop. There is a conversation that follows parliamentary procedure where people are recognized. They have an opportunity to speak. They are not constantly interrupted by the chair, who isn't even chairing. But that's a whole separate issue. My commentary tonight, it's interesting, Mr. Moretti, a resident, asked a similar question. The election is over. And for 4 years, I've heard stop the development for 4 years. I've heard that. Catchy soundbite. Yet in 4 years, I've not seen a single comprehensive plan ever presented by our mayor, ever, other than let's have a committee 4 years later to address the issue. If we needed a committee, that could have been established 4 years ago. Maybe the COLA plan the mayor has is a secret plan because no one has seen it because she doesn't have a plan. So rather than catchy bumper stickers and lawn signs and insulting residents and creating a new committee to do what you—
Excuse me, I need to interrupt you. Joe DeBella, Mr. Clark.
It's unfortunate that I'm not—
I am being addressed personally, and it is inappropriate for Mr. DeBella to disparage me during
raise
this
policy
meeting.
issues.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
As a tax-paying resident of the community, this is a policy issue. I've not personally disparaged you. I'm asking as a resident, after 4 years, your plan to, quote, stop the development is another committee. I'm expecting that the governing body, under your leadership, you have made this your mantra. I'm expecting to see a comprehensive plan that is compliant with the municipal land use law. And if you have this great plan, maybe you can go back and revisit round 3. I saw what was posted during the campaign, and rehabs and seniors, it did not in any way, shape, or form remotely satisfy what round 3's obligations were. So you either don't understand what's required under the law, you don't care, or you don't have a plan. But if your plan is a committee, I'm disappointed. So when can we expect to see, Mayor, your housing plan that complies with COA, that readies us for round 4, that revisits round 3, and to your point, stop the development? Because a committee, with all due respect, that's not going to get it done. That's why you were elected. When will we have your housing plan? When? When can we expect to see it?
My housing plan? Any
Your
plan
housing.
I present to this committee gets turned down since you're
Try it
part
again.
of the committee.
You've never presented a plan. I've seen all the meetings. I've seen all the meetings. You've never presented a plan. Put a plan out for the public, rally support, challenge the majority, get something done. If you have a plan, where is the plan? The answer is you don't have a plan.
Mayor
And I am
DeBella.
fed up with it as a
Mayor
member
DeBella.
of the public. Yes, Mr. Bonnet.
You are well aware, during the election, you said our plan. Now you're saying it's her plan. We're all aware that the mayor's 1 of 5 here.
I'm sorry, time's up.
Save it for another day. Save it
Wait
for
a second, you gave the other resident more time. So more
She
time
asked
for the
for it.
other resident, less time for me.
She asked. for
I'd
it.
like more time. Respectfully, I would ask the council to plan.
Then I would
3
like
minutes.
to vote on it.
And conversely to
Respectfully, I'd
that,
like 3 minutes.
Mr. DeBella, you were brought into the room when others had their hand raised a long time. They're waiting 10, 15 minutes, and so all of a sudden you got pulled into the room first. So
I can't control that, so I just hit the hand button.
yeah, you could, because you text people. I get it.
Are you, can I respectfully get my additional 3 minutes? I'd like to request the same way the other resident
I
did.
would like to take a vote.
Joe, does Allison have to do the roll?
Yeah,
call?
we have to do a vote.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to give Mr. DeBella 3 extra minutes.
I thought that was the mayor's, she could just authorize this to occur, to take
I
the
don't
vote.
know.
Well, no,
Correct?
according to Joe,
I
it's
know.
a council.
What I
So
said
let's
was
do
the
this.
mayor
The
can
mayor,
call
Mayor,
for
you're
it.
the presiding officer.
You can
Yes.
call for it.
Mr. DeBella has requested a 3-minute extension. You can pull
Yes.
council we can do it
Perfect. May
that
I
way.
have a motion?
I make
No,
a
you
motion.
just you need to call for a vote.
Yes.
Who
A
wants to
motion.
vote on Mr. DeBella's additional 3 minutes?
Anybody who wants extra time can get extra time, in my opinion. Joe, you can go ahead.
What
Go
is
ahead,
what is it?
Councilwoman.
Oh, my goodness. Can Allison take a vote?
Yes.
Can we just
Ask for
follow
that.
procedure?
I asked for that.
Okay, so we're just
You're the
doing
one
a
that
vote.
asked me to do it.
Just no motion second.
Correct.
We can do a vote.
Take a
We don't
vote.
need a motion in a second. You can just poll the council right now.
Okay,
Councilwoman Richmond, yes or no?
Yes, please.
Council, Deputy Mayor Russo, yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell,
Yes.
Councilman Bonovich.
I'll let him speak.
I couldn't care less.
Wow, that's very professional.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that when a member of the
The
public.
response, the response to the action. Every action has a reaction.
So it's
Mr. Bell, please,
unfortunate.
your 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. It's unfortunate when a member of the public, a tax-paying member of the public, gets a response from the mayor says, I could care less. That's obvious. We've seen that for 4 years. And Mr. Bonovich, you're right. It isn't just Mayor Berger. You've been up
Mr.
there for
Clark,
2 years. I have not
Is there a
seen
point to this, Mr. Clark?
I have not seen a comprehensive plan on how we're going to handle revisiting round 3 and round 4. If your mantra is stop the development, my question is very basic. It's very simple. When will you present a plan for the full governing body to enact with details, with an outline, with vision, with leadership, even if it's voted down? Can you try? Or is it just the next 4 years of stop the development, blame everybody else, and let's have another coffee clutch? So is there a plan?
I don't
coming,
drink coffee.
and when we can see it? When can we have your
The
plan?
proper response to that is, Mayor DeBella,
Yes, please.
this is a council and we're supposed to work together. And you know what? You just mentioned it, the mayor's plan. That's 1 of 5. I'm 2 of 5. So it's 3 to 2. Yeah, it's always 60-40. I get what you're saying, but to be honest, it's a council decision and we should be working together. I'm ready.
Councilman, I agree with you entirely, but my point is the mayor has been the one beating the drum and leading the charge. So if that is the case, and her entire mantra for 4 years has been do this, I think it's not unreasonable to expect a plan.
My
some
answer to
outline.
that,
Allison, time, please.
my answer to that is the mayor.
a little more than
Got
1.5
voted.
minutes, Mayor.
That's the way it is.
Thank you.
I would just say for the
Mr.
record.
Bonovich, I'm sorry. What
this
did you
is-
say, Mr. Bonovich?
I said the answer is it's the council's decision. And you keep saying the mayor's plan, it's the council's plan.
So
So
here
I'm
here
open.
is my final comment. It's
I'm
my
ready.
time. I respect you, Mr. Bonovich. I appreciate your responding to me, and I mean that. You're a gentleman. What I would say is it is unfortunate that stop the development is nothing more than a political campaign stump speech, and there is no plan from the mayor. It's unfortunate. We've been duped. We've been misled, and now it's been exposed because it's either
Mr. Clark,
or there is a.
is this appropriate for the consent
Okay.
agenda? I will ask the question again.
Unfortunately, my time is
Mr.
finished.
Clark.
Clear I've not gotten through, but the people of the public.
Mr. Clark,
The
I've
Berger
asked a
family.
I'm the
question.
parliamentarian. I am not the presiding officer. I have mentioned this many, many times. If there's a point of order, you can ask me about it and I will respond as the parliamentarian.
I'm
Mr.
asking
DeBella is
you
making
if this
comments about things that were brought up during the campaign. Personally, and as the parliamentarian, I think it's fair game. So it may not be comfortable, but it certainly
Oh, I don't
is-
mind that.
comes
You should
within
know
the scope
that.
of the comments.
What
We
I
don't
would
have
say
a
in
separate
conclusion,
section set
What I
aside
would
for
say,
hearing the
Allison,
citizens.
time,
We have
please.
only
Running
the
out of
first
time.
hearing of the citizens.
It's
I would
Amend
say
our consent,
almost
we
3
amend
minutes.
our agenda
it
to.
it is clear the mayor has.
I'm
no
sorry,
plan
Joe, I
before.
can't
He's
hear you
never had a
because
plan.
Mr. DeBella is talking.
Take your consideration.
It's been 3 minutes.
I
Thank
appreciate
you. It's been 3
the
minutes.
mayor and council. No plan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bella. Thank you so much for your comments. It's always a
Likewise.
pleasure seeing you.
Pleasure being berated by you as a member of the public.
Listen,
As well,
Okay.
as
Listen.
member of the public.
no one's been duped. Everyone, both sides use the same slogan, stop development. So let's get together and stop it together. Okay,
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
I'm ready.
All right, moving on with public comments, and to address your comment, Mr. Bonovich, there's many hands going up and down. Plus, we have over 74 attendees that I'm monitoring. So I
Oh.
apologize if
I hope they
they're
have
not
that
in an order
problem.
that you.
I hope they have their problem.
Next is Tina Smilek. I'm moving into the room now.
Hello, council.
Hi.
I start by saying the most disrespectful thing is for a prior mayor to go off on this council as a whole. There's no need for that. President Bush, who I really admire, has always stayed out of all the decisions of past, whatever president comes forward. I think our past elected officials should do the same. So that was totally unprofessional of former Mayor DeBella. I'd just like to put that on the record. As far as the PBA contract, I want to start by saying that the PBA had a chance to talk. Can we read into the record what the chief letter has stated? Because we're only getting a partial history here. And to me, it's not the mayor, it's not the council, it's not the manager or anybody else. The chief in this town is the face of this town. And if you don't respect that, you're getting a letter from the Chiefs Association and you're going to move forward against our chief, then there's a problem. I think you need to take a step back. If the chief has a problem here, you need to know what it is. Does anybody even understand what the situation is? Of why because if this is coming from the Chiefs Association, obviously it's coming from the chief. So if the chief has a problem with this PBA contract, who we all know as the back of every PBA officer, I think he deserves the respect of talking to him and understanding what that is. If you haven't talked to the chief about what his problem is, then you don't have all the information. I would like all the information before you move forward, because the chief would never object to this contract unless he had a good reason. So please put this contract off for 2 weeks. It will not affect our PBA because it would be retroactive back to the beginning. They would get everything they were did this week, 2 weeks from now, if you take the time and sit down. Do not make a rash decision without all the facts. That's my statement. As far as the business things going on with the $10,000 to support our businesses, I think the town wastes more money on nonsense. So if you wanted to spend $10,000 to support our business, I totally support that. I think it's a great idea. I think you should move forward with it. Our businesses are hurting right now and they do need help. So if it's $10,000 that you're taking from our budget, I'm sure there is some place you can cut $10,000. It's not hard. Look at the budget. If you need help, I am more than happy to look at the budget for you. Snow removal. DPW did an excellent job. My only problem is West Farms Road in front of the Walters Group. You have sidewalks there that have never been cleared. So these people are walking with their dogs trying to get to the bus station all the way down on Route 9, and they're walking in the middle of the street because those sidewalks aren't cleared. What also isn't cleared is across the way, we did our CBD, whatever grant that was, to put the sidewalks to make it safe for everybody. Those sidewalks are not being cleared. Who's responsible for clearing those sidewalks? There's a median in the middle of Fort Plains and West Farms Road that is supposed to be clear so people can cross West Farms Road to the other side and have someplace in the middle to stop. That is full of snow. We spent the money on this. Does anybody even look at what's going on here? Those should be clear. If we can't take care of our own sidewalks and we can't take care of what we did, how are you going to give violations to residents? You need to sit and take responsibility for your own stuff, because I believe that sidewalk going from Fort Plains Road to Route 9 for the buses, for those people that we said in affordable housing need to have that, those people need.
Excuse me, it's been 4 minutes.
The Zoom master plan. I wrote this. This shouldn't come off of my time because I did write Mr. Clark and I did write Allison and asking about the Zoom master plan. If our master plan, residents are supposed to be allowed to watch this master plan. When these master plan meetings, will there be a Zoom that residents can, I know we cannot talk, but there should be a Zoom meeting that allows us to come in and oversee what the master plan committee is discussing. Is that set up?
I don't believe anything has been set up as of yet.
Can I request that going forward, I would like to see the master plan committee be on Zoom so residents can overlook and see what's going on and it can be transparent. Mercer appointment. Last week, Councilwoman Richmond
Excuse me,
stated
it's
that
been 5 minutes.
I'd like to request 3 minutes time.
I'll take a vote. Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Councilman Bonovich,
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Richmond,
Sure.
absolutely.
Okay, so as for the Mercer appointment, we were told that there was only one application accepted. On that one application, it was never noticed to the public that Mercer was, there was a Mercer appointment available for public to write in an application for. So if there's only, how did only one person know that this position was open if it was never noticed? There's many people. I mean, there's, what is it, a $4,000, $5,000 price tag on this position if somebody wants to do it? Also, I mean, it should be noticed for the public. If you're not noticing that an appointment is up, that appointment shouldn't stand, and you should renotice that appointment to fill it. I would really like to see that happen. Will you renotice that appointment and fill it based on the applications you received for being transparent and doing that?
If I may, the lack of it being on the notice was an accidental oversight by the clerk's office. That position expires on January 31st each year instead of December 31st, like every other committee or board, and it was accidentally overlooked. And
I understand accidents happen, and I'm not saying that anybody's at fault for this, but since you made a mistake, should it not be put out now for notice? How did one person know that it was open? Only one person. You don't find that sketchy that only one person knew that they could apply for the Mercer? And not only that, since Mrs. Richmond, since Councilwoman Richmond sent out the council's version of the agenda, we all saw the application. We all saw that he only did it a couple days right before that it was due. It wasn't even submitted in the timely manner that you request that all applications be submitted. This appointment should be reposted and citizens should be allowed to apply for this position. And to do that is a very disrespectful to all the residents of here. So I would ask that you take a vote or whatever you have to do and redo this. If you decide you still want to stay with Mr. Nicastro, that's your decision. But at least give residents the opportunity to apply for this position. It's the right of every resident. Again, PBA contract. I totally support our PBA. I've donated to them. I've been to their Oktoberfest. I've done all of this. I respect them. But if the chief has a problem with this, I have a problem with this. So I don't know if have any of you talked to the chief? Have any of you discussed this with the chief? Have any of you had a meeting with the PBA without discussing it with everybody else?
Excuse me, Mayor, it's been 3 minutes.
Also,
Joe, I need to ask Joe. Okay.
I'll finish it up with this. Do not vote on the PBA contract tonight, not because I don't believe in the PBA, not because I don't trust in the PBA, not because I don't support the PBA. Do not trust until you talk to Chief Kudrick. He is the face of this town. If he has a problem, you all have a problem. This man is the face of this town. This man knows what he's talking about. He's bringing the police force this far, and he will protect our police. So saying no to voting tonight only means that you agree to listen to Chief Kudrick. Voting on this tonight means that you don't think Chief Kudrick knows his job. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will move Mrs. Smilek out of the room, and next is Lauren Roth.
I have one question just before we move forward with the next town person. Mr. Bonovich did ask Lou a question in the very beginning. I don't remember what financial question that you had asked. And I was just wondering, I'm sure it was information that Lou could have gotten during this time. So
Mm.
I just want to make
It was-
sure that that doesn't get lost. And please
It was
forgive me,
the-
I don't remember the specific
Cost
thing.
of the last element on the master plan.
That was
Um,
before that. That was the second financial request. There was one prior to that.
Oh, the snow surplus,
Yeah,
400,000.
no budget.
Thank you. So Lou, if you please,
Okay.
if you could get that information. I'm sorry, and Brian, please move forward. Thank you.
Okay, we have Ms. Lauren Roth in the room for public comment. Ms. Roth, go ahead. You can address the
Hi, how
council.
are you? Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone
Yes.
can hear me? Good. First of all, I hope I get 10 minutes. But with that being said, most importantly, we want to stay focused on the agenda items. And the most important thing, like Mayor Berger keeps saying, is we want to hear from the people. We want to hear from the people. We want committees. We want the people, the people, the people. So in lieu of being the people, if you do decide to move forward with this committee of yours, I hope that, like the other person said, it's transparent and everyone gets the opportunity to represent themselves accordingly. I don't know honestly how much different it will be than this now. It seems like it's very hard to get the community involved. But on that note, I'm not quite sure of what's going on with the supporting of the PBA and things like that. I just hope that we do make the right decision because, like you stated, mass transit, building and things like that are an issue here. And the people who are going to be supporting that is the police and the associated persons with that. And I just hope that we really make the right decision based off of the people to support the PBA and to support the police equally for, making sure that Route 9 is no longer looking like a Mad Max movie. And also making sure that we do have enough patrolmen and, associated items with that funding. And so to give these people the opportunity that they can make sure that we are keeping everyone safe. So again, I just hope that we are making the right decision there and that we are always supporting our PBA in every way that we can. And with that also being said, I just would like to see a little bit more continuity in these meetings. I know there was someone who was on, Mr. DeBella, and that was interesting. And then there was another person who came on right after that, and she required extra time, and it was a vote, and some people voted and some people didn't. And I just would like to see a little bit more continuity next time in the constituents and everyone's ability for the right to speak and to be heard. But really, that's really my point of contention, is making sure that Howell is being protected and taken care for, most importantly, and that everyone is shown respect who voices their opinion, and that we're making these decisions based on supporting the community and the people and not whatever other issues may be going on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, next I have PBA delegate Ryan Hurley, moving him into the room now. Officer Hurley, you're in the room if you unmute. Okay, you're good to address council now.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
Hi, Mrs. Mayor and the rest of the council. Thank you very much for offering me some time to speak. First, I'd like to recognize Sue Weitengruber and her tragic, untimely death. Sue was a leader in many different ways. The police officers and the members of Howell PBA 228 that I was elected to represent. She was a friend of ours, a friend of law enforcement. She's a friend of municipal workers and laborers in general. And she was always supportive in there for all of us. And she was a staple at many of our fundraising events and community events, always had her hand in everything, especially our meal giveaways in the deliveries that we conduct at Easter and Thanksgiving each year. And also in fundraising efforts for us, for the PBA, Local 228, our police union. She referred to us as her boys often, and it really meant a lot, as if she felt like we were family and she had this protective
mentality about us. Other than that, I can say she was a formidable force, and she had an energy when she came in the room that you knew she was there, whether you liked it or not. But she was a great woman, and it's definitely a tragic loss, and I feel for her whole family. But with that being said, the next issue, obviously, it's been brought up, and now we've had private citizens bring up our PBA contract and its proposal tonight, as well as this the suspicious timing of this letter that came out today that's claiming that there's issues with it. I haven't even seen this letter. I don't think anyone from the PBA, I've talked to President Alexander and Vice President Robertello. Neither one of them were provided with this letter. And as members of the negotiation committee that have been working on this since the fall of 2019, we weren't approached with any information that would have been issues with this contract. And we haven't been approached with whatever the issues are that the chief is bringing up today. I would think that it could have been brought up last week and we could have worked together on something if it was, you know, an issue that was that important. But who knows? I guess we'll find out in the near future. What I can say about the negotiations process is, although it's been extended due to the COVID pandemic, which is, you know, terrible and unfortunate, it was the right thing to do to extend the process because it allowed the town the time they needed to conduct business and allowed us the right amount of time we needed to conduct business so that we could have a fair process and really, you know, give the concessions that we should give, and the town gave some concessions that they should give. And what we settled on was a fair and a mutually beneficial proposal. And I mean, each contract that we do negotiate with the PBA and between the PBA and the Township of Howell, it's all based on issues that we've identified through previous contract eras. And, you know, it's all we asked for in this negotiation was to address some issues here and there that we've identified as, you know, being problematic and needing protections for our members. I don't think we asked for anything unreasonable. And I'm just asking, as we move forward, to consider that, and also consider that the timing of that letter, that interference, you know, as I perceive it at this point, a stall tactic. I trust that each and every one of you will make the right decision for yourselves, and that's the way it should be. But hopefully we move forward with it, and I thank you all for your service on the council. I know it's not easy.
Ryan, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Ryan.
And thank you for mentioning Sue. That was it. That was really important. I really appreciate that. I know she was so, you were her family, you guys. You were her family. It was no doubt in my mind with that. So thank you for acknowledging her. I appreciate that very much.
Okay, Mayor, moving him out of the room. And next I have Joan Osborne moving into the room. Sorry, the system seems to be lagging a bit. There we go.
Hi, Joan.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, Joan.
Okay, hi. I just had a couple of quick points. The stormwater ordinance that is being proposed today, I would just like to thank Justin Yost, who took the opportunity to meet with the Environmental Commission. We had a subcommittee that looked it over and made some recommendations. And, you know, he listened to us and we're satisfied with it at this point and hope that it gets approved. I would like to discuss some of what I saw tonight at this meeting. You know, I'm a little disappointed that Mr. DeBella, instead of maybe talking to the mayor offline, tried to address points online tonight. It seems like a continuation of the campaign and less, more like a political trick as opposed to actually trying to get governance done and you know, move forward with the goals of the town, which is limiting some development. you know, I would be disappointed to see if that continues to happen at every meeting when we just got through an election period. And I would hope that people could work together to, you know, both parties apparently ran on stopping the development, not just one party. So I would think it's in everybody's interest to work towards that end. And having political games like what he did tonight, certainly not going to foster any good feeling of people working together. So I would hope that that would end. But that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Hey, Joan?
Thank you, Joe.
Joan? Can you hear me?
Mhm.
I'm sorry to butt it, but while I have you, unrelated to your comments, a member or a potential person who wanted to get involved in the farmer's market, how do they reach you to be a vendor?
They can contact the website manager@howellfarmersmarket@gmail.com.
Okay.
And we are certainly looking for more people interested.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because he went on the website and apparently there's only the application from 2020. There was nothing for 2021.
No, we're slowly rolling them out because we know we have a lot of interest. So we just started the other night to our return vendors, and hopefully within the next 2 weeks, we're going to get them to all interested parties.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joan.
You're welcome. Have a nice night.
You too.
Okay, I am moving Joan out, and next, Barbara has her hand up, so I will move her into the room. Barbara, if you unmute your mic, you can address the governing body.
Am I on?
There you go. Now,
I didn't pull the agenda this time, so I need to ask a question. I heard in the beginning something about moving monuments from, is it Preventorium Road? And why would anybody want to do that? Including the 9/11 memorial? Why? I heard an Eagle Scout wanted to do that.
Yes, it's an Eagle Scout project that we learned about, that I learned about this evening. And I think it's a great project, Barbara, actually. I mean, we're talking about a location where there's not people really going up to view those monuments in that area. I think that this is really, this is going to actually enhance people seeing these monuments.
Really, and how are you going to move 9/11?
No,
That wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah,
that was my question,
Well,
not
just
part of the plan.
Okay, well, let me tell you something. To leave 9/11 up there by itself and move all the other monuments that have been there for years, why would you want to? That's desecration of the wars and the dead people and Howell residents who've lost their lives. I absolutely think that's disgusting. So to move it to Soldier Memorial or wherever you want to move it, go put some new monuments up. Leave these alone. They're sacred. Don't desecrate them. They're sacred to Howell, where they are. Leave them alone.
Thank you.
And I'm not done yet.
Okay.
And I want to make one comment to this guy or whatever this guy with his apps and his property lot and block numbers of shopping. You wouldn't get my number on there. I don't trust anything that's going to have anybody's lot and block number out public before you go food shopping. Now that's a bad idea. I wouldn't trust anybody or anything with that harebrained proposal. I'm sorry. And another thing, I'll make one last comment. I think Mr. DeBella's attack on you, an attack on it's disgusting. You're all elected. You're all Howell Township's governing body. For God's sake, please, no one's a liar, no one's a this, no one's a that. Respect each other. Govern with dignity. I'm begging you, govern this town with dignity. That's all I have to say, guys. Please, let this be a one and done. Don't ever do that again. Please, I'm begging you. Govern with dignity and respect for each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thanks, Barbara.
Thank you.
okay, let me move Barbara back to the waiting room. Nobody else with their hands up currently. Just to check, any other members of the public wish to address the governing body, please raise your hand. Mayor, I'm seeing none. So if you'd like to proceed with the meeting.
Okay. So at this time, I would like to close the portion of hearing of citizens and public comment. And I would like to make a motion.
Mayor, if I may, can we pull out two of the resolutions and vote on them separately, if that's okay? If
Absolutely. Just,
Okay.
could you give us the numbers that you're looking at?
So 9A11, I'd like to pull out for a separate vote, and then 9A13, I don't know, Joe, if I need to address that, or you want to address that one? If we
What was
can-
the second one? I'm sorry, Pam. What was the
Okay,
second one?
9A13, the appointment of
13.
Colleen, yeah.
Sure.
And Deputy
I'll
Mayor. or
quickly
Joe,
address that. So
Thank you.
9A13 is to appoint a conflict prosecutor. Mr. Lane was our conflict prosecutor last year as well. He also happens to have some cases that are adverse to Deputy Mayor Russo's law firm. So the deputy mayor is going to abstain on that, which is why it's being pulled out separately.
Okay.
So you don't mind, Mayor, if we have a separate vote on those two?
Of course not.
Okay, okay. So I will
Okay,
make the motion to move.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna ask for the motion.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to move 9A1 through 9A15 with the exception of 9A11 and 9A13. Can I also add in 9C? 1, 2, and 3, or that has to be separate?
All right,
too?
give me a minute now.
They,
Go ahead.
they
Those
need to
are
be separate.
Those need to be separate.
Okay, so I'll make that motion. without
I'll
those-
second that motion from Councilwoman Richmond.
Thank you.
May I have Allison?
Yes. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
Yes. So then I would like to go to the first one, which is R1-21-88 or 9A11.
I'd like to make
Authoriza-
the motion to move.
Let me just read the title.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, jumping ahead.
Authorize ratification of the Police Benevolent Association Local 228 contract, January 1, 2020 through December 31, 2023. So may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 9A1, 9A11.
I'll second.
Roll
Could
call.
we have this- I'm sorry, could we just have discussion on that? Because I would like to make one comment before we take the call.
I thought we did have discussion,
We
but
did.
go ahead.
So I just want to clarify for Mrs. Smilek that I think she is under the impression that the letter from the Chiefs Association that incorporated Chief Kudrick's concerns are not known to us. And that's not true. We actually have a copy of that letter with his concerns. So we are not making a decision in the dark. And that's important for people to know that that concern has been brought to us. So, thank you.
Are you
And
ready
with-
for roll call?
Sorry, I made the motion, right? I get to speak. Thank you. Sorry. So with that said, with Evelyn, I concur. I think that everybody has worked hard. I think our PBA.
Or are we in the process of, what were we in the process of voting?
We actually can have conversation, Joe Clark, is that true?
Beforehand or afterhand?
No, right now.
Before.
Before the vote. After whether,
You can do a
Please
motion
continue.
in a second, then discussion on the motion, then the
that's what
vote.
we're doing? Okay.
Yeah.
So again, to concur that we have done I've done my due diligence. I trust and I respect our professionals, and I'm ready for a vote.
Okay.
All right.
Allison,
Before
hold
we
on.
vote, yeah,
Oh,
I
wait.
had something too. Let me go. Always like
go
that.
ahead.
Listen, all this last minute stuff stinks. Am I against the PBA? No. Am I against the chief? No. I'm for those guys. We're all for those guys. But, you know, unfortunately, we're in the middle of this. We should always give everyone time to read things thoroughly. I always address that. I don't know what these statutes are. I do trust, this contract was worked out. But if there is a question on the chief's side, we talked to everyone today but the chief, and I disagree with that. I'm not going to get in the way of these guys. I know they've been waiting a long time for this, but we heard from two PBA delegates. We heard from you, Joe Clark. We didn't hear from our chief. And to me, that's disrespectful. That's just all I got to say.
I'll just make a quick comment on that, and I'll say with all due respect to the chief, he doesn't negotiate the PBA contract, the township manager does.
All right, well, this letter came from the sky. I get it. No concerns.
No, they're in there. They're in there.
He honestly, let's be fair, this has been going on a long time. To send an email at the 11th hour, as Jim said, was a little suspect. He could have called in, he could have dialed in, he could have spoke his piece as well. This isn't fair to do this to these guys at the 11th hour. That's all I'm saying. He has every opportunity like everyone else does, and he did not capitalize on that.
Well, should have we reached out to him? Brian, should have we called him too?
I'm sorry, is he a negotiator in this process, Mr. Manager?
I want to hear I just always want to hear everyone's side. That's all. I got 2 emails with 2 sides. That's all I got.
No, but he didn't do anything to help himself.
His suggestions were incorporated in the negotiations, others were not.
Oh, yeah.
As I do with all department heads when we negotiate a labor contract. I do take input.
You know what, if this happened a week ago, I get it. It is last minute. You know how I feel about that. I'm not against the chief. I'm not against the PBA. I'm not against you guys. It's just, come on, man. It's like everyone.
That we're put in the middle here. It is.
Are we ready for Tom? Tom?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, listen, I want these guys to have a contract, period. They want a contract. They deserve a contract. They worked their butts off. They deserve a contract. As a courtesy, Mayor, and I said it before, earlier in this meeting, I never usually turn down an offer or a request for additional time to read over additional documents. That's just something I believe in. And you're still saying you didn't have adequate time to read this stuff, Mayor?
I've been in the meeting with you, Tommy. We've been on this meeting for almost 3 hours now.
I just want to confirm because I'm about to vote.
I need to confirm to you that I did not have time today to review both documents and look up the statutes that were cited. I did not have that time.
So as a courtesy, I will abstain the vote. However, at the next meeting, I want this on the agenda and I want it voted on, and I'm not going to abstain. I'm going to vote at the next meeting. I have a question for Mr. Clark. Would punting this to the next meeting harm or alter this contract in any way?
Well, it might, because depending on what council comes back after reviewing the letter, we may have to reopen negotiations with the PBA. So this is a contract that was negotiated over a long period of time. The PBA did the township a favor. They suspended the negotiations for a long period of time. They came back to the table, they negotiated with Brian, which is what happens under our ordinances. They ratified the contract. Now it's up for a vote before this council. And like everybody's been saying, at the 11th hour, we get a letter from a third party that's not a party to the negotiations, that's not really supposed to be a party to the negotiations, articulating various concerns with it that have already been addressed by the manager after speaking with the chief. So, my feeling on it is put it up for a vote.
Go ahead.
Yes, let's vote.
May I ask for clarification, a point of order?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I hearing clearly, Mr. Clark, that the question that was raised by Chief Kudrick through the Vice President of the Chiefs Association was in fact discussed with him and our manager in this process? Am I understanding that correctly?
I will comment that as a courtesy, he was given a copy of the contract to review. He
Correct.
expressed a few concerns to me. I responded to him. And apparently he does not agree with some of my responses.
That's unfortunate. Okay, I stand with the PBA. Are we ready for a vote?
I'll call the question.
You made the, you made the motion. I seconded it already. We're there.
I know.
Oh, no, we've all done speaking. I have to give everybody the respect of that, right? And
I
then
think we've
I'm good.
done that, right? Allison?
Okay, ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger,
For the reasons that I've mentioned, I must abstain for this vote this evening until I'm able to prepare myself to vote. We could move on to R 21-90, 9A.13.
Yes, that's the one that Tommy's gonna abstain from. I just wanted to make sure. Yes, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Authorize award a professional services contract, John Lane Esquire, conflict/alternative municipal prosecutor for the year 2021. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Abstain.
Mayor Berger,
Yes. We did not go through the motions, is that correct?
correct.
Correct.
So at this point, we have resolution/motion requiring separate votes. 9C.1, appointments to the Mobile Home Rent Control and Stabilization Board. May I have a councilman make a motion to appoint the member, please?
Sorry.
You're on
Mayor,
mute.
Do we want to do these individually and read the title of each? How do we want to do that, Joe?
I think you do because it's specific to a person.
Okay.
The
So you
mayor's
have to
correct.
put the person, yeah.
Okay, fine. Then I'll make a motion to appoint member tenant 3-year, Douglas Denoya.
Second.
Okay, one moment. Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger,
Yes. Member non-tenant 3-year term expiring 12/31/2023.
I will make a motion to appoint Lara Casper.
Second.
Second. Allison?
yes, ma'am. Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger,
Yes, ma'am. Alternate member park owner, 1-year term expiring 12/31/2021.
I'll make a motion to appoint Robert Ruiz.
A second.
Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger,
Yes. Alternate member tenant, 1-year term expiring 12/31/2021.
Make the motion for Gabriella Combs.
May I have a second? May I have a second? Is there anyone willing to second the motion?
Mayor, I'm not seeing that. Can you, John, Councilman Bonner, can you redo the motion, please? I'm sorry, the name?
Alternate member, non-tenant, 1-year term. Gabriella Combs. Your term expired, that's what it was, right?
Oh, yeah, that was Tommy. Yep.
Yes. I'll second.
May I have a second?
I'll
Thank
second.
you.
I'll second the second.
Thank you.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
No,
Ms. Richmond,
No,
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger,
Yes. Alternate member, non-tenant, 1-year term expiring 12/31/21.
Make the motion for alternate member, non-tenant, 1-year term. Joan Butcher Farkas.
I'll second.
May I have, thank you.
roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
no,
Ms. Richmond,
no,
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger,
Yes. Last one, alternate member, non-tenant, 1-year term expiring 12/31/2021.
is that vacant still, Mayor?
It's the last one.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody. Allison?
yeah, I don't believe we had anybody
Yeah.
for that one.
Apply.
It's still vacant, yeah.
It's still vacant. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next. Are we ready?
Ordinance.
9C2, appointments to the Municipal Alliance, 1-year term expiring 12/31/2021. Point of clarification, Joe, before we move forward, since this is a group of people all doing the same with the same term, the year term, can we vote on, if there's a multiple amount of people, can we vote them at one vote?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So can I have a motion for appointments to the Municipal Alliance 1-year term expiring 12/31/2021?
Yes, Mayor, I'll make a motion to appoint Mary Lou L. Kaplan and I think Michelle A. Fay were the only two. Allison, correct?
Correct, that's
Okay.
correct.
Those two.
I'll make a motion.
May I have-
I will second that motion.
Roll
Allison?
call, Mr. Bonovich? I'm sorry, was that a yes?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes,
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger,
Yes. 9C3, Farmers Advisory Committee, accept resignation of Carolyn Conway and appoint a member for a 2-year term expiring 12/31/2022.
firstly, I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation of Carolyn and thank her very much for her service. And I am looking for the name.
Michelle Fay, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Michelle Fay, please.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr.
Allison?
Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes,
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger,
Yes. At this point, I would like to open public hearings on ordinances.
there aren't any, Mayor.
11.1? Oh, we did them all, we did them already. Okay,
Mayor, we're on introduction of ordinances, 11.1.
thank you, I'm sorry. Introduction of ordinance 0-21-1, 11.1. Amend Chapter 2, Article 7, Section 47, Alliance to Prevent Alcoholism and Drug Abuse. Introduction February 9, 2021. May I have a member to make a motion?
so I will make a motion to introduce ordinance number 10-21-1 on first reading by title and to order the same to be published in the February 12, 2021 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice and its introduction of passage on the first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for a final passage after public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on February 23rd, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time in the municipal building, or the time to be conveyed in the near future as opposed to 7:30.
A second.
Title of ordinance, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 7, Section 47, entitled Alliance to Prevent Alcoholism and Drug Abuse of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I believe somebody has their hand up in the attendees section. And I'm wondering if she wanted to speak on that ordinance.
I opened it, but I was told
Yeah.
none, so.
There's no discussion till the second reading.
Public hearing would be at the next meeting. This is for introduction only.
Correct.
Is does it happen to be the Alliance Coordinator by any chance?
No.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Okay, may I move forward? The ordinance 0-21-2, 11.2, amend chapter 188, land use, specifically article 24, stormwater management control.
I'll make the motion to introduce ordinance number 0-21-2 on first reading by title, and to order the same to be published in the 2/12/21 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on 2/23 at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time in the municipal building.
Second.
Title of ordinance, an ordinance of the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth and the State of New Jersey, repealing Chapter 188, Land Use, Article 24, Stormwater Management Control, and establishing new Article 24, Stormwater Control. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
Excuse me, yes, ma'am. Ordinance 0-21-3, excuse me, 11.3. Amend salary, amend salary ordinance for PBA. Introduction on February 9, 2021. I guess I'm, excuse me, please. May I have a member make a motion for the ordinance?
I'll make the motion to introduce ordinance number 0-21-3 on first reading by its title, and to order the same to be published in the 2/12/21 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with its notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on 2/23/2021 at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time in the municipal building.
May I have a second?
Title of ordinance, an ordinance setting forth and amending and supplementing the salary range schedule for the salaries of certain officers and employees of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
I'm going to abstain with this since it's part of the contract, so I'm going to abstain as well. Ordinance 0-21-4, 11.4, authorized lease of fields to Howell United Soccer Club. May I have a member please make a motion for the ordinance?
I'll make the motion to introduce ordinance number 0-21-4 on first reading by title, and to order the same to be published in the 2/12/21 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and it will be further considered for final passage after public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on 2/23/2021 at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time in the municipal building.
I'll second.
Title of ordinance, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Howell authorizing the leasing of certain recreational fields to Howell United Soccer Club. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger,
Yes. Ordinance 0-21-5, 11.5, amend chapter 188-4, definitions and rules. May I have a motion for the ordinance?
I'll make the motion to introduce ordinance number 0-21-5 on first reading by title and to the order same to be published in the 2/12/2021 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on 2/23/2021 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
Second.
title of ordinance, an ordinance of the Township of Howell amending chapter 188-4 entitled Definitions and Rules of General Applicability of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
Yes, thank you. At this point, Joe or Brian, do we have any unfinished business that we need to address at the meeting?
We do have one more ordinance.
11-6.
Forgive me, I'm sorry. I thought we just did. Oh, I saw 188 and then I saw 188 and thought it was the same one. Forgive me. Ordinance 0-21-6, 11.6. Amend chapter 188-77 Highway Development 1 or the HD1 zone.
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance number 0-21-6 on first reading by title and to order the same to be published in the 2/12/21 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on 2/23/21 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
I'll second.
Title of ordinance, an ordinance of the Township of Howell amending chapter 188-77 entitled Highway Development 1, HD1 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
Yes. I will ask again, gentlemen, do we have any unfinished business that we need to address this evening?
No.
No?
No, Mayor, we have not.
Thank you. For a bit of information, the town offices will be closed on Monday, February 15th, 2021, in observance of President's Day. So that means Sunday, February 14th is the day before. So I want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. Enjoy your friends and family. And everybody have a wonderful rest of the next 2 weeks until we see you again. Our regular meeting dates are Tuesday, next regular meeting date will be Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021, excuse me, executive session at 4 and regular session at 5. At this point, it is 8:08, I believe. Is that correct? I would like a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Aye, so moved, Mayor.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
thank you.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Richmond,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Russo,
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
Yes, and amen.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Good night,
Have a
everyone.
wonderful evening. Thank you all.
Good night, all.